Hello, everyone, and I'm still Joshy Claus. How is everyone tonight? Welcome back to another off the block episode. We haven't done one of these in a long time because we've been just so enamored by the weakest link until tonight, maybe. But it's been a lot of fun here in the viewing party in this off season. My light is doing some weird things. Let me see if I can make it stop. But we have an off the block episode tonight. We're going to be ranking all 11 seasons of Big Brother Hometowns. We've got season 12 coming up soon. Applications are closed, so you missed the boat on that. But we've got we're working through casting now, and we're really excited about our applicants for season 12. So that's going to be ramping up soon. Just the other things on the schedule. Next Sunday, we'll probably do the Weakest Link one more time. We'll probably do it several times, but at least one more Weakest Link before the off season closes. But that'll be next Sunday. That'll be Weakest Link 5. We'll put some new things into place for fun of that, but that's not important right now. Let's get to our panel tonight. We have a big one, a panel full of white dudes, and we're really excited about it. Of course, we'll start with Steven Simp, Mitchell Stokes.
I'm just here to fight. I'm just here to fight tonight. That's all I'm here for. I'm ready.
And the person I feel like he's going to fight the most, I will bring on next, the Stephen Moreland. Steven, are you ready to fight?
I'm just going to tell the truth here, guys. I'm here to help you all understand what the correct rankings are.
Next up, the runner-up of the Weakest Link 4, answering maybe 3 questions right on the night, Jason.
I think I got more questions right in the tiebreaker than I did all night. I'm really sorry. I love Steven and I love Mitchell, but I'm sure I'm going to hate them after tonight.
This is so positive. Next up, the Gray Price. Gray, are you ready to fight? You're muted before you start talking.
You know, Josh, I'm not ready to fight tonight. I don't have a lot to say about these seasons until we get to the seasons that I do have a lot to say about. I think that my opinions are right. I think that I mean, it's the facts are facts, and I'm just going to lay it all out tonight. Also, I want to give a shout out to Linville Falls Winery. Jesse Wiseman, if you're watching, which I know you're not, thank you for talking BBA.
And finally, the most tenured co-host of Big Brother Hometowns with the most experience and maybe the best opinion. We'll see. We'll all remains to be seen. The one and only winner of Big Brother Hometowns season 3. Maxwell Robertson Teddy.
I was not expecting that high praise, Josh. Thank you. I do have the best opinions, and you clearly know
I said maybe. We'll see. What you might notice is some of us are rocking some BBH merch tonight. You know where to go, and you can get it.
Look at that bottom row.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Honestly, this hoodie is everything to me. I treasure it as much as I treasure almost anything in my life. So
he literally doesn't shut up about it.
and he doesn't take it off. I honestly can't tell you the last time that Josh took a shower. Honestly, I'm not sure if anyone can confirm when that may or may not.
I was
happened.
literally wearing something different 30 minutes ago.
I'm texting Jenny.
I do not.
That was underneath.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
why are you gonna lie?
Yeah, if I look just like particularly bulgy in the Weakest Link, that is why. Let's jump right into it. Before we jump right into the rankings, we have to define exactly what we're doing tonight because there's a lot of discussion around what we're ranking because several of us, or all of us, except for Jason, really have lived these seasons in different ways, and Jason has too for the seasons that he played in. We've all lived these seasons in different ways, and we've all watched these seasons in different ways. So for someone like me, I have lived and watched every season, meaning I was there, I was hosting, obviously, for the whole time, and then I've since watched the seasons back. So for me, and we can all talk about what our values are, but how we're going about this, I am ranking these seasons as best as I can from a purely watching the episodes perspective. It's not perfect, and it won't be because I have the deepest root in them because I casted them all, I hosted them all, the whole thing. But that's where I'm coming from. What Mitchell? What about you? Because we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah, Josh and I we've gone back and forth about a lot about this, and I think for me, and what I've been trying to do in figuring out where these rankings lie is figure out the line between what is great for like the being in that moment then when it's happening versus if I'm going to tell someone to go watch a season of Big Brother Hometowns that has never been involved in the community, where am I going to send them? Because what episodes are cohesive and make sense to the storyline that's been put on? And there are some, we're going to talk about this a lot, I'm sure, tonight. Where is that balance between the seasons that were great while they were happening, but maybe the episodes don't hold up, versus seasons that were kind of a train wreck while they were happening, but have some really, really fun episodes to go back and rewatch. So that's for me where you're going to see it. You're also going to see my own personal bias. I'm a messy bitch, and I like messy seasons, and I like things that happen that are like there's flips and there's power struggles and there's these shifts of these things and there's things you don't see coming. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that this person would turn on this person. Like, those types of things are important to me as a viewer, versus like Josh, who loves strategy that makes good sense. And Josh is going to be higher on things that are good strategy versus like me, who loves a little bit of a mess every now and then. So,
and one more thing before I pass it to anyone else, and some of you guys them have used this. I created a rewatching rubric, and the problem with the rubric, I broke things down in I think 5 categories. I have characters, gameplay, predictability, the winner. So it's 6. The finale, or 7 rather, storytelling, and overall entertainment. The one problem with the rubric is that
not understanding math.
Here we go again. I want to clear the air for anyone that watched. Max wrote the question that was incorrect.
It is my fault.
The problem with the rubric is that it grades each category equally, and we don't value things the same. So I've kind of adjusted along the way, and I might even adjust on the fly tonight for my rankings. But anyone else want to jump in about this conversation before we start? How did you make your rankings?
I'll go. For me, it came down to 3 main parts: the cast, the gameplay, just the overall. Well, let me rephrase this: the cast, like diary rooms, because that's what we see. We see diary rooms. We don't get to see competitions. We don't get to see the chats. We just have diary rooms. How entertaining are they? How much do they show you what's happening in the game? And also the end game. I want a winner who's going to represent a season. If I don't think you represent the season, your season is going to take a hit. And that's no offense to any of the winners. I would rather be on that bad list than not be on the list at all. And that's how I'm doing it. And I'm also like trying to take it from an outside perspective. So like, I'm not going to give bias to 6 or 10 because I made it far in 10. Like, I'm not doing that. How is it from the outside perspective?
Yeah. Anyone else before we jump on into it?
I think for me, like I played in season 2, and then in season 3, whenever like the viewing party started, like I have been following since season 3, went back and watched season 1 after like Josh finished posting the episodes for that. So I think that a lot of what I like, having lived through like every season as it was happening, except for season 1, but then going back and watching it, I think my rankings were based on like, after living through them, how excited was I to actually go back and watch that season?
Steven,
so,
you were going to say something. Go.
If
Go ahead.
if I thought that like a season like just wasn't exciting, or that I just wasn't in general excited to go back and watch it, then like it got ranked lower. But if there was a season that I really, really enjoyed watching or living through, then yeah, that's kind of how I did it.
I mean, my rankings are kind of all encompassing around, did I enjoy watching it? Right? Like, and the way I'm going to enjoy watching it is it's entertaining. There is good gameplay. There are people that I can root for and like. Ideally, there's a great winner. I mean, it's kind of all encompassing as to, is this something that I would ever want to watch again?
Yeah. Max, anything to say? You haven't said anything yet.
I will probably be leaning more on my own experience, because I've been involved in 7 of the 11 BBH seasons as either a player or a host. So that's just what's most salient to me. Yeah, I'm gonna lean more on like, as it was happening, as I was living through it, as either a player or a host. What did I experience? The episodes, to me, I think it's it's just, I know that's all that you can see now, but I think it's just an incomplete picture of what that season actually was. So I hope I can give some insight into what it's actually like.
Which is why, like, we hope that you guys in future seasons, if you're new to this, join us for the journey of watching the season in the real time, because you can get, it's just like, it's not just like, but it's very similar to watching Big Brother, because, you know, the episodes do not tell the whole story, because the live feeders have the best ability to view the whole story, and even they can't do it all, because, you know, we all have lives. And so it's similar to that in that regard, where I try, because I do the editing, to tell the story as best I can, but it's not always perfect. And so some seasons are going to fluctuate in that capacity because of the episodes. But I think we should get right into it. And they know this from the start. We are starting with number 11. We're going to go 11-1. We'll just kind of go around the horn, talk about our feelings about the season, fight about it, whatever. I will be, and Jason probably will too, because he doesn't trust my math, but I promise my math will be fine. I will be kind of keeping score of where these things go, so that at the end we can have like one encompassing list from how we all feel. But we are starting tonight with number 11, and the first person that's going to go, and from there we may just kind of circle around the screen here, but we're going to start with Stephen Moreland's number 11, worst season in Big Brother Hometowns history. Here we go.
I want to be clear just before I start this here. It's not that it's just my least favorite season. It's a season that I made it through 3 episodes before I said I'm done and I've had enough and you can't make me watch anymore. And that's season 9. 3 episodes.
Can I kick him out of this?
Terrible.
He's lost all credibility.
Awful.
Lost
Awful.
lost
I couldn't
all
go to jury.
credibility.
Josh wanted me, the messy, awful, gross. It's fine. You can love it. That's your opinion, and I
Steven is
love you
canceled.
for it. But I want no part of it. I couldn't do it.
Someone in the chat on the video that's watching right now, post the gif of me doing the.
That's literally what I thought. That's literally what I thought.
Steven, I
Anthony, if
don't.
you're watching right now,
The comments are kind of exploding, which I'm sure you expect.
Yeah, we have a lot of season 9ers
Oh.
that are watching tonight, of course.
Well, yeah, that's not a shock. And listen, guys, I'm sorry that your season sucked. I would say it wasn't your fault, but it was, because you were all terrible.
Can you explain? Okay, because you're gonna have to give us more than.
No,
Yes, sucked. I couldn't
didn't.
watch it.
I did not.
Why?
It sucked. I couldn't watch it. I
Why?
did not enjoy the people. It was a messy shit show that I wanted no part of. And part of it was there are seasons later on that I also obviously didn't like, but it helped that they were short episodes that I could just be like, okay, I can stomach this and just make it through. The thought of having to do that many more episodes of 20, like doing 3 more hours of that season made me want to blow my brains out. And so I just wasn't going to do it.
I'll say this about 9. Like Steven just said he only got through like 3 episodes. It doesn't get good until like episode 4. And that's where it starts taking over.
Sounds like such a personal problem that I can't even like look at you right now. And you know I love you so much, but that is literally a personal problem, and you didn't even try. And so
I did try. I watched an hour.
Watch
I watched an hour, and then I'm done. Here's the thing: in any show, you have a chance. They have a pilot. You have a chance to make
by that
an
metric, you'd have
impact.
watched 3 hours of the show before you decided you didn't like it, and then it
No,
doesn't even
that's
last
okay.
hours. And if you watch it on 2x speed, it's 30 minutes, bitch. What the hell are
too
you
long.
talking about?
It's too long. 30
I
minutes too
actually-
long.
I actually have a lot of thoughts about season 9, but I won't share them until later in the night. And just spoiler alert, it's actually going to be much later in the night
Oh, same.
because it's going to come up much later in the night for me.
much later. This is
So
this is the hottest of hot takes, and it's so hot that he needs to go. Like, get him out of here.
So
It's time to vote for the weakest link.
when Steven and I talked about this, when he was watching it, I implored him to continue, because when I rewatched 9, I also hated the first few episodes. Everything about it is really difficult to watch, and the storylines are like, Carl is a mess.
Disagree.
But
Disagree.
literally after week, Carl calls a day 1 meeting and tells Kieran, enjoy 15th place, bitch, which I don't know if that's the exact quote.
It's
Over
not.
time, it's been like a little bit like altered, like revisionist history, whatever it is. I'm happy with how it's turned out now. I like the way it sounds now. How did that just not translate over to the episodes well?
No, it
it
does.
absolutely does. And
Because
that's
it
the
was the
thing.
first season
We're
that
gonna-
I
we-
helped host, and like watching that happen live was
we will talk
I-
about this later.
I remember
we need
driving-
to move on because there are
Yeah.
so many
So
seasons
many.
that are absolutely worse than season 9 and I've actually I wanted to say this earlier. I forgot to say this earlier. Any season of Big Brother Hometowns is a good season of Big Brother Hometowns within a certain context.
Yeah.
We love this game. We enjoy it. We love the people who played it.
Yeah.
Like that does not necessarily mean every season is enjoyable to go back and watch.
Right.
And can I just go? Can we transition, Josh?
Yeah,
Can we
I think. Yes,
Just
Jason.
1 second. Just because we didn't mention this at the top, we obviously have a lot of friends and a lot of family that have played these games. Just because we don't like your season doesn't mean
Yeah.
we don't like you.
Doesn't mean we don't-
No.
If
love
I don't
you
like
guys.
you, I'll tell you.
I
If
mean, and
don't
season
like you,
9
I'll
is
tell
great
you.
evidence because in the real time, I was very harsh on it, and a lot of those people, obviously, we hang out all the time. So like, I don't think I have to convince any of you guys that like I like you. So like, obviously, yeah, that is. I'm glad you said that because I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
which I think that me and you should probably. I'm assuming our 11 is the exact same.
I think most people who have the same will have the same 11, the same number 11, which for me is number 4, season number 4.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
So I think most people are probably going to feel the same way about this. Fun cast, great winner. Max Parsons, great winner. Will be in the
Problem is that
conversation,
we knew he was the winner, like at jury.
and that will be, and
Yeah.
that is the conversation we will be having throughout the bottom half of my list. Personally, the predictability factor. Season 4 is super predictable. You see it coming from a mile away. You see Allie, you see Max gonna run this game. Allie gets taken out a little earlier than you expect, maybe, but for the most part, you see it coming. Not a lot of great confessionals. A lot of great people, not a lot of great confessional
With the
givers.
exception of Allie. Allie is the queen of confessionals, but
Yeah, not a lot of entertaining content in terms of what people are bringing to the diary room. And it's for that reason, season 4, bottom of my personal list.
Yeah, 4 was my lowest. I was not excited to go back and watch it. I didn't enjoy the final 2. Like I felt like Max was going to win. Like not even just at jury. I just felt like the entire game Max was going to win, and nobody was doing anything about it.
It was Max
And-
Rulia the whole game that was going to win that
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
whoever won that final HOH was going to win the game. Take Benny, and I mean the jury is fine. The Josh Gardner disaster at the beginning is much more entertaining in real time than in the episodes. But
it
even
wasn't
then,
even entertaining in real time. I don't
Right.
think anybody enjoyed that. It was
right? It was just
not
it
fun.
was just
It was just a
dumb.
mess.
A little messy, yeah.
and it wasn't like an entertaining mess, and it didn't like push the narrative forward at all, like in the way that I think the mess in season 9 did. Like it was very uninspiring to me. Like as
Jason,
a-
is it your number 11 as well?
I literally just changed it because I completely agree with you guys. I think it is the worst season compared to what I think is the next worst season. But like looking at my worst and my second worst, I found more people in my second worst that I enjoyed more and more gameplay that I can actually hold on to. But season 4, like, yeah, there's some great stuff like the Allie Max duo that is like running the game, and then it's not till Allie gets voted out that they finally realize, hey, maybe they're a couple.
Right. That was
Eric
just
did figure it out.
Eric was
Yeah.
the only one that figured it out.
So I was gonna say for I'll do this throughout the night because I did use the rubric the whole way. Season 4, everything's just graded on a 35-point scale, but I did the percentages, so it scored 44 out of possible 100%, obviously, and so that is very much the lowest, and it's a pretty decent margin even to the next one.
Anybody want to go next? See, number 10. Let's try to move along through the bottom half of this.
Mine's really easy because it's season 4.
Right.
My number 10 is season 4.
Whatever.
I'll
I can't
do
with you right
mine.
now, Steven. I literally cannot with you right now.
I think that this is the season 9 thing for Steven is the one thing from our conversations that it's going to be earth shattering tonight for everybody. I think everything else it'd probably be fine. Probably.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I can go next with my number 10.
Number 10.
I have season 7 at number 10.
Me too.
I
too.
also have season 7.
Yeah.
I did not love. So I found myself in season 7, and I truly do believe that it's because of prior friendships. Like, I have a bias, but I truly, like, the person I was rooting for all of season 7 was Jayla. But I do think Jayla was a really, really good player. Like, I think Jayla was a great player. I was rooting for Jayla to win. I wanted Lauren Ulmer to go far. I wanted Max to go far because they were all together. And I really was rooting for Shelby a lot in that season. And so that's who I was rooting for. And since the season's been over, like, I've gotten to know Sam, and like, I love Sam, and I'm really happy that he won, and I love him as a winner. But I just feel like it was like the minute Sam cut Jake, it was like Sam was going to win. And I feel like Jennifer and Artesia were potentially like just like extra votes for Sam and Jake. It really did feel like Sam had 3 votes the whole season. And I do think that that's a testament to the player that he is. But like, I also think it could go the other way. Like, I don't know. I just, it's not a season that whenever I wanted to go back and rewatch it, that I was like really excited to rewatch. Like, I was actually like, I didn't finish it whenever I rewatched it, to be honest. So
I agree with you. I think on a winner's ranking, Sam scores higher than a lot of people. But when you win the worst season, it's second worst.
Josh hates season 7 so much. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
now I will say though, Jake played a phenomenal game in season 7. He played a way better game in season 7 than he played in season 10, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead.
ahead.
You want to go, Josh?
Sure. So Sam and Jake both played very good, fine games, but they were boring. There was nothing that, and it's not all their fault. They had no reason to do anything differently the whole game. It got them where they got them. Jake's biggest problem was not thinking that Sam might turn on him, and Sam's biggest problem. Well, he won the game, so he won the game. But everyone else, like, the gameplay is just so bad, and it's so bad, especially from Max Teddy. But that is his worst game by a
I'm the first to admit it. That was a terrible game.
He played so badly. The backdoor of Shelby. Jayla warned him, "Hey, this is not going to work. We don't have the votes."
She did.
And instead he did
Max said in the season it wouldn't work because he didn't have the votes.
You just were like you had big move-itis,
Yeah.
and you could have pulled it off, but you put Daniel on the block for whatever reason because Daniel was this big threat. No.
Yeah.
And so from there, the gameplay just got worse, and you got taken out by Jennifer.
Do you have to remind me? I literally
That was uncalled for. That is a low blow.
To be fair to Max, I don't think that season does anything to like say that he's like a worse player or anything like that.
I made jury.
Oh no.
It's like once you
jury.
win, it's like once you win, like in Max's position, like what else does he have to prove? Do you know what I mean? Like, so for him having big move-itis, I mean, it's just going to make it like a more entertaining season.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, hey, let's try to make this like fun and entertaining in a season where there wasn't a lot of fun and entertaining. So like, I actually do appreciate Max in that season for that regard.
So I have some thoughts about season 7. I think season 7 is the first season we're going to talk about that actually holds up better on a rewatch than it did during, because I remember just there was a lot of frustration. I remember talking to Josh and him being like, I just want something to happen. I want something, like, I want them to do something. And here's the thing. Even season 7 was on the precipice of being a great season.
Over and over and over again.
The pre-jury stuff is actually really fun. If you want to like laugh and you want to enjoy some of that stuff, the pre-jury is the place to go for season 7. But like once you get past the final 10 and the final 9 and things like that coup doesn't happen, Max's crew, that coup fails, it's over from there. And they never are able to flip anyone, or they're never able to win power in order to do anything. And so they literally just go out back to back to back. It becomes the Sam and Jake show. And the only thing compelling about the end game is whether or not Jake or Sam who's going to cut who first.
Yeah.
And so but had the beginning of that jury phase gone differently, it could have been a really compelling. If someone wins a competition, it could have been a really compelling season. It's a great cast. I mean, like Jayla and Lauren are some of the best to never win. You know, and they were really great.
Chandler, and we had Bradley in that season. We had Max Layton. Like, it was cool.
Yeah,
I think if Bradley sticks around longer, and you have like this dynamic of like Bradley, Max, Shelby, Lauren, Jayla, all vying for it at like final 6, final 7, then to me,
It changes the game. Yeah.
it would be one of the best. Add Sam into that, add Jake into that. If that's your final 7, then it would be like every single one of these people deserves to win potentially at the very end. And so I think it was a good cast, but it's just like a lot of like it didn't reach its potential for me.
I think during my rewatch, for those who may not know, I was rewatching it from season 1. I had a bunch of people in a group chat. I was messaging my thoughts throughout each season. I don't think I said shit about 7. I was like, yeah, I started and I'm done. I didn't say anything because it just wasn't important to me. I think the one thing I said was calling out Max for being dumb, but I think that was the only thing I said.
That's fair.
Steven, you look like you're chomping a bit.
Well, no. So season 7, obviously, that was my first season hosting it or any of these, and I hated it so much. And the big thing was it was so frustrating, the behind the scenes things that didn't make the episodes because so much was potentially happening that just never effing happened. And so that was mind numbing to see so many people wanting to do big things and wanting to do. And so like, that's why you and I both, Josh, were like, oh, this could happen. This could do this. And then it never came through. Mm-hmm. And so that was just infuriating. But in terms of just watching the episodes themselves, I thought it was a pretty damn entertaining season. Like you had some fun things. That boat steal was awesome. I mean, it obviously didn't work, but Max's the Shelby map was incredible. That entire episode, that's one of like the best episodes ever. Like that thing was incredible. And then for it to fail just made it that much like crazier that it didn't end up working after all of that. But the move, like that whole season, just going on what, Gray was saying, if Max takes Sam out instead of Max Layton, I think like that changes every single bit of season 7. And then you have a lot of fun because the power of the other side of the house that ended up just dominating, that is gone.
I regret that so much.
And then people have to mesh, and that it had a lot of potential in terms of just the players to be a like top season.
So is it everyone's number 10 except for Steven and it's his number 9?
It is not my number 9.
It's not your number 9. Oh, interesting. Well, then let's go to our number 9s, and we'll start with Steven.
My number 9 is season 2.
Oh, that's right. That's okay. Yeah. Elaborate.
Ray, I want to be clear about this, Ray. Your mind fuck of Connor is one of my favorite moments of any thing in the Big Brother
that's all
world.
I needed. That's all I needed.
Because I just want to be clear about that. And Consalvo can attest that I said that is like without question, the most redeeming part of season 2 to me.
You're talking about like his HOH for the double eviction, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
That
why
was
is it
incredible.
Why is it so low otherwise?
I don't like just the whole end game. I didn't like just basically the whole post jury was just
Because I wasn't there.
That's right. That's a good word. It all makes sense. But I just didn't like it. Connor's move to blow up the house, like it kind of worked because he won the season, but I don't think that that's why he ended up winning. He won because Greg got back in the house, and just Greg's game was the weirdest thing I've ever seen of just, I'm going to just make it to where every single person despises me and I will have no chance of winning. It was fun, to be clear. Like I talked to Contalvo about every single one of these things. I thought it was fun, but not good.
We'll circle back.
Yeah.
Much later, again, much later.
I feel like this
I
is
have
now
a little bit of a bias for that season too, but I think I understand like where you're coming from, Steven, because again, that was one where I haven't really watched it back just because like living through it. And after my like vote out in that season, there's still like a little bit of like PTSD where I'm like not ready to confront it yet.
Season 2, I'm gonna say this because we're gonna get there later. Season 2 is great, and Steven, I'm concerned for your mental health.
I will say, Josh went back and because I did watch it because Josh told me to watch it. Josh went back and added like a year and a half later a clip of him saying, "This is one of the best BBH moves ever," and it's in season 2.
And it sets up one of the best end games.
Season 2
in Brother Hometown's history, but it's fine.
Season 2 sets up a lot of the series, so to speak. A lot of relationships. We have a ton of winners.
The story in season 2 is really, really important to watch to understand season 8 later, I would say.
Yes, definitely.
But let's hold back our season 2 thoughts. I think this is where things could start getting all over the place.
A little twisty, because we're at the middle tier.
Yeah, I think we're at the middle tier. I would say, and the middle tier is pretty big. But I'll go now for my number 9, if that's okay. My number 9 season is Big Brother Hometowns season 11.
Ding, ding, ding.
Minus 2.
Yeah, my number 9 is season 11, and this is stuff that we've talked about in the thing. It's that over the last few weeks, obviously, because this is the most recent season. The pre-jury, a lot of fun, a lot of things could move around, except we have a lot of the sequester bunch. That sequester bunch breaks up and starts getting fluid, but then you have Dan and Justin run the table ultimately, where whoever's like, and you have people with the option to take them out down the stretch. They don't do it. That's that's like a cardinal sin in my book. I appreciate. I want this to be heard because I'm sure some of them are watching. I appreciate the Notorious RBG, and I appreciate what they did, and that they accomplished their goal of getting to Final 3. They did not accomplish a goal of trying to win the game, in a sense, because not all of them could win. If they all were 100% self-interested, they would have taken Macy and Mark down the stretch for the win. They decided, we're doing this, we're going to the end, and they did it. And for that is remarkable. If we were ranking alliances, it's number 1, Gwen. There it is. But in terms of what makes a good season, that's not it. And you have great characters. You have Lee in the pre-jury, who's incredible. You have Anthony, one of our favorites of all time. You have Dan, Justin, and Gwen, great characters.
And
Adam, Blake, Chandler.
Blake.
Like, I love like a lot of these people, but the season as a whole on a rewatch was just not fun.
I completely agree. It's my number 9 as well. I didn't say that, but it's also my number 9. I just found myself like not like, I know this sounds bad, but I just found myself like on a rewatch. Like there were times where I was like fast forwarding or like skipping because I kind of remembered after helping host like what happened, but I just like also like didn't care to rewatch parts of it because it was just like there were 3 people who clearly ran that game. So clearly ran that game. And it's like it did make the final 3 really interesting, for sure, without a doubt, to a degree, because I mean nobody was going to take Dan to the end, I guess. But I just would have loved to see that fallout happen at like a final 6. So yeah. Anthony had just played his HOH different.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, season 11 had
Anthony.
I think season 11 may be my favorite cast of all time. It's the most. I don't think there is one flop on the entire cast. There is one person who did not bring anything to the season or did not contribute anything to the season. And
I'm interested to hear who you think that is, but I don't want you to say their name.
It's 100%.
It's Will.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's
I thought you were
Will.
going to say someone else, and I was going to say
no.
He's too busy recording the 100 Days of Lifetime.
Yeah, no, everyone in season 11 was there to play. They contributed something to the season. I have a soft spot for season 11 and the cast because it was the first season I got to help host this game that I very much enjoy and love. However, I have said, I'm on record literally saying that the reason I don't like season 11 is because it is the exact same thing as Redemption Island season 22. And this is the conversation we're having here with season 4, season 7, season 11. And when I break everybody's heart at the next round, with the conversation that will be about that season as well, is it is predictable, and you can see it coming from 7, 8 episodes away, and it is not compelling television. And like I said at the beginning, for me, that is important. So season 11, we knew from episode 2, you literally can see episode 2 RBG formation. You see all the different strings that they're pulling. There's literally a 5-minute confessional of Justin being like, and this is the string that's connected to this, and this string, and this string, and this string. And it's like, great. I'm so glad to know how the next 6 episodes are going to go. And there was never an opportunity for a shakeup. The one opportunity they had was blown. And season 11, it hits the bottom of the list for me.
I'll personally say this. Season
Is
11
this your
is
number 9 as well, Jason? Is this your number 9, Jason?
Yeah. I'll say this. It's probably the season I cared the least about, with the exception of the ending, as I had a friend in the end. But like, I enjoyed a lot of the cast, and hearing some of the DRs I did hear, especially from people like Adam, Blake, and Anthony. Like, those were some of my favorite DR givers that season, but I don't really remember anything else about the season, with a couple exceptions, but like, not saying them. I think the bus twist was really interesting at the beginning. It definitely brought some heat and some interesting flair to the game, but I don't think it did enough to keep me in. So I scored it low because it's probably just the season I cared the least about, but somehow I still knew it was better than the other 2.
Yeah, I haven't said this yet, but season 7, I had scored 50%, just right down the middle in that regard. Season 11, I have 61%. So
I agree
Max,
with everything that has been said.
is this your number 9 as well, Max?
It is also, yes.
All right. Well, since this person is the person that has the mystery every round, Steven.
The reality is there's no mystery. It's season 11. So for all the reasons that you guys just said, so we are where we are.
Let me go this time. You ready?
Okay. So your number 8, Jason.
Season 10.
Same.
Same.
Wow, we are in sync today.
Same.
Personally, I love season 10 from like the fact that, hey, I made it to final 3. I almost won the game.
Yeah.
But from an outside perspective, God, I would have hated it. I would have hated so much of it. Quinn as the second boot, like at first, if you count like the house, like Quinn, I didn't know who Kaylee was, but now that I know who Kaylee is, Kaylee, Melody, like Mitchell, Abby, all out pre-jury. What kind of fucking shit is that? Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing.
Well, and from the production side of things, like the fact that jury was potentially maybe expanded a little bit because of the fact that all these icons kept getting sent out before. What? Who said that?
It is BBH 10 some stars. It is a great cast. It really is one of the best casts we've ever assembled, but they just did not show up to play.
Yeah.
And it was really disappointing.
I disagree, actually. I think some people played within the realm of the game that they were presented to themselves. Like, and the people who ended up the Bunker Busters played a smart game in terms of making sure that they could get out people that could hurt them in the game, getting out me and Abby, getting out Maddie, getting out, Quinn. Like, they did the right thing for their game to progress themselves.
From a viewing perspective, it was just like the whole like pre-jury. It was like so many of those people should have been on the jury.
It was also really frustrating watching the trio of Rachel, Jake, and Pietro like be on the wrong side of votes. Rachel with her HOH, like it was just like there were just so many things where you're like, oh, I wish it didn't go that way.
This season, way better to rewatch for sure than to live, for sure, because the pre-jury is a lot of fun in isolation because of all those big players going home. So you have these big moves, the Quinn versus Mitchell on the block, Jenny casting the deciding vote, Rachel then taking out Mitchell and Abby. That's a big move. You have, Daniel just being Daniel all over the place. You have, Sarah just playing really poorly and just like trying to figure it out because she felt so behind the 8 ball when I think her position was better than she thought it was. And then you get you have Jeff, who like plays this big character game. He does the video for Rachel. That's a big thing. He, I think, got screwed at the end. I think they should have kept him around. Pietro and him, like you have Pietro, who just comes off season 9, really playing a great game, and then just carries it and keeps it rolling and plays. Now, for what it's worth, I'm saying all these high things, but this is the same. I have it at number 8 as well. But from season 11 being at 61%, I have season 10 at 70, and the gap between my number 8 and my number 4 is only 7%. So these are all really in good. They're good seasons, but I think the season gets worse as it goes on, as opposed to getting better, and that's because of all those big players going home.
Well, and something that appalled me the entire time, and I will continue to say and pray and preach and say this until I'm dead. So many of these people were like season 10. What Alex was able to pull off in season 10 is phenomenal. The fact that he got 5th place in season 10 is absolutely phenomenal, because so many of these crackheads saw him play in season 8, saw how good he was in season 8, think that they're big players, and then come back in an all-star season and let him get 5th place. Like, it's just a testament to who he is as a player. And like, I mean, yeah, like it's incredible to me that like, and like, I mean, there were 14 people left in the house maybe. And like, I think like, I don't remember if it was Rachel or Pietro, but one of them was like, I think it was Rachel. She was like, maybe we should like get Alex out now. And
I was trying. So, okay. Nope.
It was like, maybe we should get Alex out now at 14 or 16 even. It was somewhere around there. And it took 11 or more rounds to do it.
Not to mention that if not for Rachel having too many drinks on the beach, Jenny could go to the final 5, final 4 of this game. And she played an incredible game.
Yes.
Makes that big move to save Mitchell, which was just positioned herself perfectly. That other side just couldn't get power ever, except for the one.
Thank you. Yeah, give me my credit. Yeah, I won a competition. Those bitches didn't win shit. Okay. I love them all, but they could not. We couldn't get anywhere. It was frustrating.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, to be fair, like so many people just like kept talking about getting Alex out, but then like different things kept happening the whole time, and it was just like, why? Like it just. I don't know. It was astonishing to see like how far Alex was able to make it so soon to him playing season 8. I mean, he was in a position where if he won every competition out, where he would have won the game, and they let him get to that position.
So go ahead, Jason.
A couple things for me personally, as somebody who's played that season, but also like thinking outside of it. The Final Four isn't a great Final Four. After Alex gets voted out, it's like, okay, I guess, Jason. And I got that from a bunch of people where it's just like, oh, I could tell once Alex was gone, it was, hey, I hope Jason wins. And for me personally, Alex is an amazing player. Like that first round in the house, Alex got me really mad at him. Because I was hearing that he was making up fake stories and stuff. And then I came to like trust him later on, and then like working sometimes with him and working sometimes against him. And Jeff like trying to backdoor me was pretty great. Just saying from a personal standpoint, that was pretty great. And then Alex and I have talked about the vote, like his eviction a couple times. Even if I voted to keep Alex, there is no way in hell that they're saving him. None. Zero chance. And that season gets a lot of points because Alex carries a lot of that season on his shoulders. And I told him many times, I absolutely respect him as a player. And it's just incredible how much he was able to do in a cast that should have known who he was.
Absolutely.
I barely knew who he was.
I think part of it is there were some people who knew BBH, and there are some people who played BBH and then they didn't ever pay attention. Right. But then it's like, oh, All-Star season, I'll play. You know what I mean? Like that definitely was a factor, and it helped him. And kudos to him, he did it.
He should have been the first one out. The fact that he
almost
wasn't,
was.
it's
Steven,
incredible to me that
if
he
you'd
wasn't.
have been there, maybe you could have helped that happen.
You're not wrong. I take responsibility for that.
Okay, but you guys are coming after me now because I was that first HOH,
No, and I actively talked you out of doing it.
and I was just like, I think we should hold Alex. Like,
I agree. I'm
right
not saying
now.
I'm not saying that it's your fault.
I don't think he should have gone out first because there's value in having him around for a while. But he got the right people. He found himself on the right side, and I don't think season 10 is the story of Alex by any means. I don't know who it really is the story of.
It's Pietro's story. He won, and Pietro did a lot in the jury phase to make
He was
it
a
his
great
story.
winner, I think.
He's a great winner. He'll be he'll be in contention for probably a top 5 spot in my opinion on the winners list.
I honestly think there's two stories to BB10. There's Pietro's, like, he's in the position of power throughout the game, and there was sometimes he made bad moves and was on the wrong side, and how he would bounce back. Then there's, if you know me from season 6 to season 10, like, there's my underdog story of like the bunker busters taking out all of my allies, all of season 6, and me having to navigate around that. So I feel like season 10 has the benefit of having those two stories.
One other thing Pietro did really well was he pinned targets on people all the time behind the scenes. He was constantly throwing.
And he used Rachel to do it.
Yeah, he used Rachel to do it. He used Jeff to do it. He just constantly did that. And yeah, Pietro's a good winner. So
and 10 had that plurality vote, which I'll just say I really loved. Like,
yes, the double eviction 2-2-1 or
2-1-1.
Yeah, 2-1-1. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's all Pietro that move because he got Jeff to flip.
That was his winning move.
Yeah. Is this everyone's number 8 except for Steven then?
Yes.
Well then, Steven, number 7.
My number 7 is what I would have gone into this ranking last, and that was season 7. Because on rewatching it might be truly just that I was so low on it and I hated it in the moment so much that when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty entertaining. Like I talked about earlier, the moves may not have worked out, Max's, but it was fun as hell to watch. And Sam was a great winner. Would it have been, I still wish that Jennifer had won Final HOH and we got the final 2 we deserved from that season, but we are where we are.
Not the final 2 we deserved. The final 2
No,
they
that's
deserved.
that's right. That's fair.
We did
That's
deserve.
Final 2 they deserved.
That's fair.
We did not deserve anything.
No. But
We deserve
but
Jalen more.
plenty has already been said about 7.
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
very curious to know what's going to happen next because I feel like
This is where it's about to split.
I think it's going to split pretty interestingly
Yeah.
here.
Mitchell, why don't you kick us off? What is your number 7 season of all time?
I think you guys are expecting me to come for the season I've been very vocal about, but I'm not going to do it yet.
Okay.
Good.
My season, my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is this? 12,
7.
11.
7.
Number 7. I have season 3.
Okay, are we gonna fight now?
Yeah. Season 3 is really fun, and I love it a lot. Has a great winner who we will talk about, I'm sure, at the winners thing. It's just, I don't know. I originally had season 3 like number 3 or 4 on my list, and when I rewatched it 2 weeks ago, it just wasn't hitting the same way it did the first time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was obsessed. Second time I watched it after watching some of the other seasons and context around it, it just didn't hit as good for me. And I don't know.
Is that season 3's fault though?
Yes.
We're comparing them.
We're literally comparing.
Why were you
seasons.
obsessed with it first though? Like what? That
I was
doesn't make
obsessed with watching your winning game because you're my friend and I didn't know how you were doing it. And I remember rooting for you so hard the first time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I was like, okay, I know Max wins. Let's look at the rest of this as an entertainment piece. And I don't know. It just didn't hit for me in the way that some of these other seasons did later on. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Apparently, I'm not the only one who had number 3. This has number 3. So,
Gray, what did you have?
So I actually had this is 7th, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had season 5 here.
See, I thought that that's probably what most people were gonna have. But
So you're a contrarian, is what you're saying.
yeah, well, absolutely, and you're gonna find out here soon.
Yeah, I'm waiting for next round to see what you have to say, actually. So I had season 5 here, and I mean, season 3 isn't far off. But I had season 5 here because I loved the final 2 of season 5. I think that the final 2 in season 5 is the second best final 2 ever, and that maybe I'm just biased.
No, agreed.
Is this your number 7?
So my number 7, Josh, is season 5.
Got it.
I actually made a bet and put cash money on season 5. I was part of a trio of players who all this was back when you had to pay to play BBH, and me, Matt Holloman, and Justin Brock, all season 2 alum, paid for our fellow season 2 alum Greg Wells to play this season, and Greg said that if he won, he would split the winnings with us. So I was actually very actively rooting for Greg to win. And I was happy that he did. But Sarah is a phenomenal player, and her story from season 1 to season 5 is so good. But outside of Greg and Sarah,
Bradley,
and outside,
There's some really fun characters in 5, which is why it hits higher for me than
Bradley's final 3
Second
story
place.
is like that was the season where if Bradley was going to win, it was going to be the season he won. So the final 3 was good. So outside of that final 3, the only other thing exciting and memorable about that season is the fact that Greg Wells is still alive right now. And I'll just leave it at that.
He did not pay you.
I
did not
disagree.
just say that.
I disagree so heavily with that.
Very
Greg.
well.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I
That's
disagree
the only other
heavily.
thing that's exciting about that season to me. Like
That's
up
not
until
true.
the final 3, like it was a great final 3, and watching them navigate and like make it through the game, and watching the Greg and Sarah final 2 like brought it up so much for me. Like brought it up like so much higher for me.
You're skipping the entire pre-jury, but we
Yeah,
will
the
talk-
pre-jury is so good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's one thing in the pre-jury that was, and I literally just mentioned it. Like,
Inaccurate.
Anyway,
accurate.
Max, where you
my
at?
number 7 is season 2.
So
It's
is
just,
mine.
Josh understands. It's just like
From an entertainment perspective. But you have Ryan Dean Williams, who's that? You have Devin, useless. You have who was the first boot? Daniel, useless. Who like pre-jury, just a waste of time. Post-jury, there's a lot of entertaining things in the works, but you have that big alliance that dominates, and it's almost like, and living that season was infuriating because they just were so arrogant. Sorry, Gray, about everything they were doing. Yes, the
also
episode,
the fact that the Thai Lions was like a thing. Like
Right,
that's
right.
annoying to me. Like
Yeah,
10
but
people
okay,
knew-
but that was where BBH started.
yeah.
Man,
I-
y'all are completely ignoring
when we
so much
talk
about
about the
season
evolution
2.
of strategy for BBH, season 2 is going to be huge.
I'm not.
Y'all are literally ignoring literally all the amazing things that happen in
Yeah,
season 2.
I'm getting there. The Connor flip of the Connor double eviction is the episode of the season, one of the top 3 episodes of all time. Great. And then Connor benefiting from Greg, Connor strategy, Connor. If Connor is on my screen, I'm having a fantastic time. However, there are 2 seasons that Connor's on that are ahead of this on my list. And that's not just because of Connor, but Connor's fantastic. But he played just such a messy winning game, and the storyline of Connor winning that game when he came behind it redeems this season tenfold, because if Emma wins that season, if Trey wins that season, heck, if Matt wins that season, then it's really uninteresting. So Connor, this season, let's see, I have it 71%. We're really in the weeds here. I think this is a very, very good season. I just think a lot of seasons are better than it.
It's not anything
have
season
to
2 did wrong. I think there are seasons that are better. That's really
I would sit down and watch season 2 any day. Any of these seasons from here, you say you have to watch the season right now, I would do it.
And that's the thing. I think this is the point where it's like now these seasons are not bad seasons. These seasons are good seasons, but there are other seasons that are better at this point.
And there will be things, and like we said, there are things that are going to be valuable to some of us that are not valuable to other people. So I still disagree heavily with this, and I will say my piece about season 2 later on in the show.
Okay.
Jason, what's your number 7?
I had season 1.
Get out! Get the fuck out!
I-
Get out right
For
now!
me, season 1.
Leave this fucking studio right now, bitch.
I
Leave.
love.
First time I'm stunned.
Okay,
Leave.
I love Jenny Consalvo with all my heart.
Oh,
But
wow.
there's just not too many people like Bradley. I fully remember, and Jenny, but like it just became family, like couples who would stick together and family members who'd stick together, and like you could tell in diary rooms, people were just getting sick of it, of being like, oh, these people, we have to put them up because they're family, they're related, and it just got boring. I'm saying that I love season 1. Season 1 scored really high for me. But for me, season 1 just it wasn't it for me. This
is a damn choice, and obviously y'all have realized that
I know
you
I'm
don't
gonna get
share
a
my
lot of
opinion.
heat.
You're wrong, and that is what I have made abundantly clear over and over and over again tonight. And I do not care. That is a wrong opinion.
I will save my season 1 takes because
Yep.
But I will say,
Steven,
living season 1 was a nightmare. Like for me, it was a nightmare. I'm grateful for it in that lived experience, but the watching experience. Oh no, Jason.
For me, it was just like, oh, hey, it's gonna come down to Lane or Jenny, and I just wasn't a fan of it. I was happy
You were
that
both
Jenny
amazing, by the way.
Fantastic.
I don't remember Lane. I'm sorry, I just don't. But
Don't
I knew
remember
it.
Lane. He was like, okay, later.
Wow.
Later.
Wow.
Oh, I know.
All I'm gonna say is that when Ashton Consalvo comes back and plays this game again,
Oh my God.
it's
Oh, it's
over
over.
for every single one of you. I'm counting out right now. When Ashton Consalvo comes back, goodbye. Bye.
All right, we'll get back there. Okay, let's start with Max. Max, you're number 6.
Wait, did we do Steven's number 7?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
No,
we?
you did. It was season
Yeah,
7.
it was season
We
7.
already
Okay,
covered that.
there we go. So Max, you're number 6 season.
Season 1.
Oh, get out of
Okay.
here!
The reason is okay. The reason is because I like Jason was not a fan of everybody just working with their significant other. That was just like Bradley played it excellently.
It didn't work.
No, but the fact
But that's like almost
it
the
still
same thing as,
happened.
like that's
It
almost
still
the same
happened,
thing as like
though.
the season 2 Ty Lyons to me.
and that's why I have season 2 so low.
Yeah, like, and I'm agreeing with you, Max.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
Like, I don't
And that's
see
why
much
and
of a
the fact that
difference
it didn't
between Ty
work is why
Lyons
it's
and all the
bad.
couples working together. I don't see much of a difference here.
Exactly. The fact that it didn't work is why it's not as entertaining. There were so many opportunities to do something different. And I don't think there were a lot of uninteresting confessionals to me. There were a lot of interesting ones, but they were balanced out by a lot of uninteresting
There was
ones.
one person that gave uninteresting confessionals, in my opinion. One.
And I
Say
just
her name. I'm just kidding.
Allie Klein wrestler.
You
Yes.
can't watch him.
I was also not a fan of Ian's, but he was just in the
To
first
her,
episode.
He had
her,
one confessional. What is there to be a fan of?
It ain't real to her. She don't know.
I'm legitimately shook. I'm legitimately
Wow. Wow, I'm glad I went to Max first. That was a good
One
another
is not
great
my
hot take.
favorite. It really isn't.
Woo! All right. Let's go to Greg. Greg, you're number 6.
Season 3.
Yeah, people keep stealing my thunder. That is mine as well.
Season 3 was a great season. I really loved it. I thought that there were 5 seasons that were better than this season.
Yeah, that's did I.
Obviously, this is why this is my number 6. That's how math works. For those of you that are unfamiliar with math, I think that the thing that's so compelling about season 3 to me is the fact that Abby comes back and Abby makes it as far as she does. It's the first season of 2, where we see our queen get robbed. I think, and you've heard me say it over and over again, I think that Melody really had a chance to win this season. And Max's winning move to me is whenever he like brilliantly reads the game and reads the jury and takes Melody out whenever he takes her out. I love the reason that this season made it so much higher is whenever what's his name, John?
Yeah, doesn't use the
Does
veto.
not use the veto on himself. He's
Stupid.
on the block.
Yes,
and he
Jason,
doesn't-
catch on, everybody. Thank you, Jason.
He doesn't use the veto on himself. That's what got me. It was that for me, and that brings it up so much.
Hey, everybody, put your rankings as your name.
Oh
How
gosh.
do I do
Okay.
that?
Just double click on your name in StreamYard. Let's see. This is number 6, so I have.
So, like, Jason and I have commas for the ones we haven't revealed yet.
You mean question marks?
Yeah. What? Oh God. Yeah.
I'm glad you're not an English teacher, girl.
Girl, me too. I want to go last on this one because I have a lot to say, and I think it's pretty
Okay.
apparent what's.
Oh, you
going
guys did
on.
it the other way. I'm doing it. I'm keeping it the way it is here.
Oh, that
you
is
read,
that is the most confusing.
you
Josh,
read from left to right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right, but what it's an
11
ordered. It's an ordering.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay, so I
Even as being messy.
What
I'll
is
go
it?
next. I'm gonna go with
Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
season 9. I think season 9 is a fun season, and could be recency bias. Literally could. I can't deny it, but I'm having a lot of fun watching it. I'm just about done with it on the rewatch. It's one of the seasons I actually paid attention to after I played, and I just had a lot of fun. The only thing that really knocks it down is I think Karen is possibly one of the most predictable winners any game has like ever seen.
Interesting.
Ooh,
I
Okay.
agree.
I do think I saw it coming very early on.
saw it coming before the season started. I
It
was
was
like,
like her
she's going to
Colin.
win.
It was her or Colin for me. There was a point in the game where I was like, Kieran or Colin is going to win this.
Yeah,
But it was so interesting. I'm trying to save it. It was interesting to see if she was going to do it or not.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, it's definitely interesting to see if somebody's going to win. But like, she called her shot on the first, like her first confessional, her first diary room. She's like, "Yeah, no, I'm married to Eric," and Eric was like, "Put your money where your mouth is," and so I'm gonna go win. And I'm just like, she's winning. Like, there is nothing else to say. She's winning. To be fair, Steven also said the same thing, but 6 happened, and I just had to throw a little bit of shade to him. But I really enjoy 9. I think there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of action. I think even pre-merge, like Carl, I'm just sitting there like, what is he doing? How is he still in this game? Who is letting him in this game? And Edmo's one of my just favorite diary rooms, and it's because he has such a potty mouth that it's just different than everyone else who's ever played this game. And I love that. And then, like, I wasn't a big fan of the ukulele, but we all know I don't like music.
Okay.
So
okay.
Go ahead.
Steven, are you going to steal my thunder if I let you go in front of me?
Well, I haven't had a chance to talk about
Okay, go.
season.
Go.
4. I would like to talk about season 3 for a second.
No.
A lot of good things were said about it, but it's a great season. It's very fun to watch. The cast it's a small cast, so there's less room to hide. You get through the weeds quickly and getting out James and Raziel and even Ben to some extent. I think he was robbed in some capacity, but you have the introduction of Quinn. You have the whole Quinn and Max everything. And if you guys are going to complain about, brothers and, couples working together, like maybe you have John and Bradley, you have Abby and Melody, you have Max and Quinn, like it's the same thing. So, but you have great, this almost marked a new era of BBH in a sense where it starts branching out slowly. But you have a bunch of people there to play. Bradley was just so screwed because of every wrong decision John made. That's a lot of fun. The finale is our first live finale, so it's a lot of fun because there's like some excitement, energy with it, despite it not being like interesting, so to speak. I think it's a good I think the jury brings good questions. Trey and Max duke it out. Max being brought to the final two is really interesting to me because the fact that Trey had to bring Max to the final two in order to have a shot is just remarkable because of that's how good Abby is. So a lot of great things. This I have 74%. Season 2 being 71 before, now 74. Steven?
No, I was just gonna say it was just the fact I felt so bad for Trey at the end because I don't think Trey played a bad game.
No,
I really don't. But my God, you went to the end with Max and Abby. Why? How
Yeah.
do you not try to fix that somewhere? Like
Even
God.
the final four, like Max, Abby, and Melody, like all being in final four.
he was just in so much trouble, and that wasn't really on him. It's not like he was like a true GOAT. But I felt bad for him in that sense.
All right, we're on to our top 5 seasons. No.
Steven and I haven't given ours.
You're what?
I gave
Our
my
top-
6.
our number 6. You did.
I
you
gave
didn't
my
change
6.
it.
Number 3.
It's just you, Mitchell.
It's just you then. Sorry. Mitchell, you're number
Oh,
3.
I'm reading your thing wrong. Okay, yeah, I'm here. It's time.
It's
for us to
time. Here we
it's
go.
time for us to have this conversation.
Big Brother Hometown Season 8.
Yeah, excuse you. Excuse your fucking mouth. My number 6 is season 8. And here's why.
Insert the GIF.
Insert the shocked face, the pretends to be shocked face. I mean, I've been teasing it, but here's the thing. Season 8 in the real time, amazing. So fun. Couldn't believe what was happening. Oh my God, what's going on? Is this really going on? Is Gray really doing this? Is Alex really going to make it to the end and make everybody his bitch? Is that really what's going to happen right now? Oh my God, Alex didn't take Gray to the final 2. Alex took Gray to the final 2. I can't believe this is happening. Gray's about to win this. It's iconic. When you watch season 8 on YouTube, none of that transfers. You don't, the intensity and the things that were happening in the game do not translate to the episodes. I'm sorry, they just don't. It's predictable. You can see Gray and Alex are running the game from the 3rd episode. And that is the same thing that we clocked season 11 for. It is the same thing we clocked season 7 for, and the same thing that we clocked season 4 for. So if we're going to say that that's predictable and makes it bad, it's predictable and makes it bad. Same thing here. Okay. The rest of the seasons that I personally have above season 8 are much more engaging and entertaining for me than season 8. Season 8 has a great cast. Season 8 is entertaining. But is it, for me, it falls at number 6 because it is not interesting to watch back. I'm not going to watch it back again. I'm not. And that's part of the metric. It would be
Yes, you
watch.
are, but that's for something else.
Alex, you don't tell me that this season is not predictable. You're in the comments saying that season 8 is not predictable. Excuse you. You literally were saying from the 2nd episode, oh, I'm going to run this game and this is going to be my game, blah, 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 blah. Well, the only thing that wasn't predictable was that you lost.
Right.
So, like, you can say all you want, but that's not the truth.
I agree in some capacity. I mean,
You've gone back and forth again.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But in terms, like, the entertainment level of these people far surpasses many of the others. The gameplay is very good. Everyone is playing hard. Just because Alex and Gray dominate, they didn't really, like Alex did. Gray, like, was under him doing a lot of things, but it wasn't like, oh, this, like, in the real time. In the episodes, maybe it comes across that way. In the real time, that's not necessarily the case where you think that Alex and Gray are dominating. It's really like Alex is the front runner. We talked about it the whole season. And then, the finale is phenomenal. Like, obviously, it's a good,
it's the best finale, best final 2 of the series.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm giving
but
that
then,
credit.
I mean, and I'll say that obviously, like,
I know you guys have things to say, and that's fine.
yeah. And I will hold.
You can get to it later.
I will.
much later if you want.
Much
Later, actually.
later.
That's fine. Great. I love you, and you're one of the best winners to ever win.
I know. I just love giving you a hard time about it.
Yeah, it's fine. I said it at the beginning of this. Of the beginning of this. What was there when it was happening versus what it holds up as, and you guys all enjoy season 8 for various different reasons because you lived through that experience. You're not going to tell someone off the street to go watch BB8 season 8 when if they know nothing about this org. you're not going to.
No, I just love giving you a hard time about it, Mitchell. And for that reason is why I'm going to be changing my rankings, Josh, and I'm putting BBH season 6 at number 11 now.
Well, I would like to go next for my. We're at number 5 now.
Yes.
I'd like to go next because I'm ready to fight a little bit. My number 5 is Big Brother Hometowns season 5. And I'm ready to fight Gray because he's just so wrong. Like,
Yeah, you're so wrong.
okay, and I'll lay out all the
It's
things.
7 for me. How far away from 5 is that, Josh? Tell me. You love math.
You know he can't math.
You love math so much,
It's-
Josh. How far are 5? 7 minus 5. What is that?
I 2. Okay, I'm not
Okay,
worried
great.
about. I'm
Just
not worried about the placement. I'm worried about the words you said about the season.
I
Those are
said
the-
what I said, and I meant what I said.
Okay, you are.
Do it again too for a
here-
champ.
Here are the things you ignored. Here are the things you ignored.
Tell me.
Connor,
I'll ignore him again.
Connor
I'll
Mills
ignore him again. Let me
blowing
turn
up
my
on a
microphone off.
No. Did you watch the season? Because I'm starting to think you didn't. Because you have, first of all, you've praised the final 3, correct? But you somehow almost forgot Bradley, who was the best player of the season, played one of the best games to never win, short of, I guess, Alex at this point. Then you have Connor at the top of the season going berserk, going crazy, sending videos to the house. And then you have Daniel Sanchez and Leighton deciding we're randomly name generating the 2 winners or the brothers. You have Max and Quinn on the block against one another. You have Allie. You have the roast of Leighton, as it's dubbed in the season at the end, where Allie just eviscerates Leighton. It's amazing. You have Greg coming out of nowhere, learning from his season 2, deciding I'm going to turn this game on at final 8, final 7, doesn't dominate, but plays a very strong game, gets to the end. You have the final 2. The finale is absolutely compelling because you have Sarah, who makes the boneheaded decision to take Leighton out to make her path harder, and she still almost wins because the final 2 is so good and because she plays so well, and she wins that final HOH. She cuts Bradley. You have Greg and Sarah going at it. You have John coming in the jury that just absolutely just sucker punches him. It's incredible that John, friend of Sarah for years and years and years, does not vote for Sarah. That is unbelievable to me.
But for me, it's like I don't know that about John and Sarah.
Right. Okay,
I know that they're
That's
friends for years and years.
such a minute point in the list of things that he just listed.
I know, but I wasn't
Did
listening.
you
to
even
the whole
say
thing. I had
anything
my
about
computer
Greg's?
muted. I had my computer muted, so I wasn't even listening to him the whole time.
Did you mention the Greg a lot fake alliance to save himself?
The
Did you
great
mention that?
fake
Oh my God.
line where she bounces Sarah back and forth, and what the heck she's going to do. I was with Sarah that night, and it was very fun to live in the moment. She just
God,
kept going back and forth. I even put all of her votes in the episode because she just goes back and forth 3 times.
so good.
Daniel Sanchez just being Daniel Sanchez. Bradley playing just such a good game and getting robbed at the doorstep because of Sarah's boneheaded decision to take Leighton out at Final 4. This season is so good. It is so good.
And I had heard that it
I'm
wasn't
tempted to
good.
bump it up another spot.
The thing that's crazy is when I joined the community in season 6, everyone was like, "Ooh, season 5, ew, it's kind of like a dusty stain on the couch." And then I went back and I watched season 5, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? This is so good." And it's also my number 5. I put it in there, but I'm with you, Josh. Oh yeah, so good.
The reason it's a dusty stain is because there was a really ugly moment in the season in real time, but that has been removed from the history of the episodes. And
It was very interesting. It was the most interesting part for me.
Okay, great. Stop.
that just shows you didn't watch the episodes because it wasn't there.
Oh my God.
All right, Steven, why don't you give us your number 5?
My number 5 is higher than what all of you have. I have season 10 number 5, and the reason I have season 10 number 5, the post jury, obviously there are so many things that could have happened. It was sad. I compare it to Survivor Game Changers in a way, in that so many huge people that you loved and wanted to go far went home early and didn't make it. But damn, that pre-jury is so much fun. Watching Mitchell, for example, my God, that kid, just the wine, the confessionals from bed, just Jesus Christ. I mean, all of it was so much fun. The pre-jury to me was so much fun to watch. And then honestly, post-jury was fascinating because I didn't, the storylines, the 2 main ones post-jury to me were, is Alex really going to do this? And is Jenny really going to do this? Because both of them, in my mind, I didn't think would have a chance of making it anywhere. And the further they went, I was like, holy shit, like, what are these people doing? And I mean, like I said, obviously, Jason had one of the best redemption stories, I think, in Big Brother, in terms of making it that far and playing a damn good game to do it. And so I just all encompassing and knowing knowing the people that I knew from the seasons being in season 10, I thought I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that's a great take. And I think that you're the only one here that did not live that experience. And that's why it sits higher for you. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And I really enjoyed watching that season. I finished it today.
I'm sorry. I'm just secret.
So yeah, I think that's a great take, and I think that I could have put it higher. Didn't.
I don't take offense that no one put it higher. I truly don't.
Well, Jason, why don't you give us your number 5 then?
Season 3. I really love season 3. Season 3 is a fun season for me. I love watching the Max story and just Max being like, how am I doing this? How are they letting me get further and further? And then Max is just one of my favorite players just in history of it. But that's because every single time Max plays, which isn't relevant to this particular season, Max is always just like, why are these people letting me get further? It makes no sense. And then having like Max and Trey, Abby, Melody, Quinn, like, yeah, sure. Like I hate the personal connections and what that, but Max took out Quinn. Like Max canceled him. Max said, no, I don't care who you are. I'm winning this game, not you. And that's a huge move in just the history of the game because it creates this brother rivalry that lasts throughout the entire series of just Max versus Quinn.
Right.
And
it starts Quinn's journey of unfortunate moment after moment.
Yeah, because I think that I think you can trace it back to that moment where it's like Max determines that Quinn has to go, and Max has a reputation for being such a great player that like it's like if Max thought that Quinn had to go, then every season that Quinn plays in the future, Quinn is deemed as this like phenomenal player, this rock star player, this incredible strategist who has to go like as soon as you can get him gone, where Quinn is actually like a loyal ally. And like, yeah, he is all of those things. He absolutely is all of those things. But there's sometimes where Quinn got voted out way earlier than he should have been voted out. And it wasn't founded on anything. And I think a lot of that started from Max making the first move in that season.
Who hasn't gone to number 5 yet?
Me.
Max and Greg. Max, go for it.
My number 5 is season 8 for all of the reasons that Mitchell said. And that's really all.
Wow, you agree with me, Max?
I do.
Well, my number 5 is season 1. For so many of the things that have already been said, for me, it was like I love Ginny's game in this. I love her story with winning. But again, it was a lot of the couple thing for me was just like, and hear me say, I also agree that the Ty Lions in season 2 did this as well. But Josh, if you'll let me just go ahead and go straight into my number 4.
Sure,
season 2 is my number 4.
Same.
And the reason that season 2 is potentially my number 4 is because I have that bias of living through it. But additionally, I think that season 2, I just really loved Connor's story in it. And I think that season 2, like the story of Connor, specifically the story of Gray and Connor, comes back to mean like so much in like the BBH like universe. It's literally like Tony and Sarah and Survivor, in my opinion. Like I think that like the Gray and Connor like story that like started in season 2 came back to mean like a lot in season 8. And I just think that Connor winning that season when the odds were completely stacked against him, when Greg came back in and like just complete crackhead energy, like and also, okay, you've got to think about our stats for season 2 as well from a cast perspective. How many winners do you have that were in season 2? How many second place finishers do you have that were in season 2? How many third place finishers do you have that were in season 2? Season 2 was a stacked cast, and like during the time of it, we may not have known it, but as time has gone on and these people have come back and played in future seasons and continued to perform, you have Connor as a winner from that season. You have Greg as a winner. You have me as a winner. Abby got third place. Marston got second place. Like Abby got third place twice.
Yeah. Can I jump in and help you defend season 2?
Yeah,
Gray,
absolutely.
because I don't think it's just your personal bias. I think season 2 is a damn good season. Sure, the first 3 boots, who cares? But after that,
I forgot who it was.
exactly. But after that, when Greg leaves, turns around, comes back, wins the battle back, wins HOH. From there, it is just is rocket fuel, and Connor winning the game, being the only person to come into the game with knowing nobody, and he won, like, and he didn't know anybody on the cast versus the tie lines versus all the other relationships and connections. It's amazing. 2, we've completely disregarded the entire Gray's entire alliance, avoiding the block for 4 weeks in a row and mind warping every single person who was HOH into not putting them up.
But why is that interesting to you? That feels predictable to me. They
No,
keep doing.
absolutely not. They
It
were
wasn't even predictable to me at the time. Like I'm sitting there having
how is that
conversations with
predictable?
people,
I don't
and
know, I
like
saw
my
it
alliance
every
was doing
Tuesday.
nothing.
What's predictable would have been them putting up Gray and someone in his alliance and one of them going home.
Fair.
Not only are they able to avoid that once, twice, but 3 times in a row, they are able to avoid that. And you're narrated through the whole time. That story is told because Gray is an excellent confessional giver and storyteller. So not only is that happening, which is interesting, but you're being told that it's happening, which is what makes a good story and what makes the season 2 very compelling. Connor getting to the end the way he did, amazing. Greg Wells coming back in and completely screwing up Gray's game, amazing. Sorry, it was. I mean, but it really was the.
Connor's probably like my favorite winner. I don't know if he's the best winner, but I think he's my favorite winner. Maybe, I don't know.
And I think too, like if I wasn't part of this play, I would still say that it's one of my favorite plays in BBH history. Connor's double eviction.
Yeah.
It's iconic.
It's phenomenal because like I sent Connor a fake video of me voting to save whoever he told me to save. But like the fact that we were able to convince him to put up 2 people and our alliance, it was like week after week, like you said, Mitchell, we should have got people voted out. And it was like, it got to the point where it was like, all right, this is it, guys. This is the end. And I was like, I'll try and see what I can do and like see what happens. And then all of a sudden we get through another week without losing.
And it was a double. Like
it was just like,
and none of the 3 spots that were on that block were y'all.
Yeah.
Right. Is that right?
I think we lost like 1 person, but she was like fringe of our like 5. Like we had a 5 and then we had like a 7.
Yeah.
If you have screenshots of how happy Connor was when he won that HOH versus how upset he was when he realized what had happened to him, it's pretty amazing.
It's right.
Story. And then the fact that Connor it makes Connor's story as a winner so much better because the fact that he comes back and wins after that happens, it's compelling. It's rooting.
The whole woe is me.
Like, watch it, I'm like chanting.
Yeah, the whole woe is me, like, oh, nobody wants to align me. Like the way he played that up and described that, and
it was
so
literally
good.
like Connor's funeral. Connor literally had a funeral for himself, and then he ended up winning.
Look, I love season 2. Don't hear me wrong. I have it, a couple spots down. I just like season 3 and 5 better. And I agree with everything you guys have said. I love the storylines we have here. I have no issue with season 2. All right. Who's
anybody not done?
Max hasn't updated his thing, but so Steven, you're. Oh wait, are we?
What's your number 4, Josh? 4.
Oh, my number 4. My number 4 season is Big Brother Hometown season 9. I have it pretty high for me,
much higher than what you thought you were gonna have.
Yeah. So I'll talk through it. Hold on, let me mark this down. I have it at 4. I agree. The first few episodes are brutal. I don't enjoy the reason this season is high for me is because of all the bizarre storylines that exist. Carl, I still have a hard time watching it, and I love Carl. Like we've hung out a lot. Like Carl's become a friend, but he's a mess. I mean, he knows it. Like we've talked about this a million times. So that is still not fun for me to watch. And I have a very vested interest in Kieran. We're like close friends with him, obviously. So there's that. But apart from that, and that's even still a really interesting storyline. You have the split house, the unanimous votes, Shane quitting, Kieran navigating all of this, Kaylee constantly doing things badly. And the reason that is good is
can't wait to talk about that.
it's so compelling that she's convinced that her moves are so good when they're so terrible. Like, and it's not just her moves, it's how she went about those moves. Yes, she backdoored Slade. That was a good move. The way she went about it, every single thing she did was horrible, like just so bad, like so terrible. Then the whole thing at the end, Shane quitting, that's interesting. We have Kaylee and Kieran as the final two, and that finale is so terrible, so hard, so not terrible, so hard to watch. But it's a dogfight. Like they really they go at it, and Kieran really had to fight for that win that she deserved to win 9-0, or 7, however many jurors. I think we had 9 juries, so 9-0. There's a lot of really fun things. The Slade is incredible. Like the storytellers are really good. The confessionals are good. The storylines are told really well. The story is a hot mess, and for me, it's like San Juan del Sur that I did not enjoy the first time I watched it, but learned to really appreciate that season. It's not my favorite season. Still, I don't even know if San Juan del Sur would be high on my Survivor rankings, but I just started realizing this season is really unique and really different, and I have to appreciate it for those reasons, despite really and I said this to you guys when I was rewatching this, I was like, I'm just not enjoying this at the beginning, but then it just kept going and going. I'm like, this is really good. Like this is good gameplay, actually. Like Pietro flipped that game on its head, and we had strong gameplay down the stretch. Not everyone played well, like Kaylee, obviously I talked about that, but you have Pietro who cuts that house in half and really flips the game on its head. And then you have these two sides going back and forth, and that doesn't happen a lot in Big Brother. And when it does, you have to appreciate it. You have the rising stars of Rachel and Pietro and Kieran as a winner, and Slade and Carl and Ed and Mitchell, and you have a lot of really. That's another good story. Mitchell and Kieran playing the role that Max and Bradley wanted to play in season 5, and one of them winning the game. That's ultimately the prize of that scenario working out. And they were set up even better because they were both on either side of the house, and they worked from the middle. And they eventually, Kieran eventually had to cut Mitchell, but it was best for her game. It was the only move she had to make. Like she was the steady ship, and I kind of agree with Jason in a lot of ways that her win is kind of predictable in a sense, because she was the steadiest and she was the smartest and she was the most strategic, and she just, the more you see that, the better she gets, and she's now the second best competition performer of all time. But maybe you could say that she ties Dan because she wins the jury, and that in a sense is like winning a competition. So I'm much higher on season 9. You're welcome, everyone in the chat. You probably did not expect this from me, but there you go.
One of my favorite parts of season 9 that I actually didn't mention when I was talking about diary rooms, I don't think there was a single diary room of Slade's where I wasn't laughing.
Oh my God,
I love that man so much because he has me crying laughing.
One of the best confessional givers in BBH history.
Yeah, Slade. Are you talking about Slade? Sorry, I assume
Yeah.
Slade. Sorry, we didn't cast her for season 10. That was a mistake.
It was.
Yes, it was.
And that's on that.
And that's on period. Okay.
I still need to go.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
I'm really actually kind of concerned about this, to be honest.
Don't say it.
Here it is. Oh boy!
Don't you say it. This is not the place for it.
Say it.
Isn't it?
That is wrong. That is just downright wrong. I'm sorry.
You're not.
Wow.
You have season 3 above season 6.
Yes.
Are you that?
Defend yourself, Max Teddy.
Okay, season 6. Pre-jury, other than BB Pandora, which is amazing in its own right, is forgettable for me. I think a lot of people went out way too early, aka Quinn, Maddie, Mitchell. Mitchell, I thought you went way too early. And
also, Max, can I just say really quick, the whole BB Pandora thing, I think it was telling that just a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, you had to even I think it was you that asked, what does that even mean? And
yes.
To be honest, there's still a big part of me that doesn't even know what that means.
It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing for nothing.
Yeah.
Nobody
I
actually
watched it twice and I still don't get it.
Nobody actually leaked the alliance, but
Right.
Paranoia.
Yeah. Well,
So, and then Callie and Brianna did not do that season many favors. I was really annoyed that Ryan was brought that far to the final two. He had no business like going.
Imagine someone trying to take him out. Okay, sorry, I'll stop.
You did take him out.
Successfully
Not try.
taking him out.
You successfully did it.
And like I feel like Parker, love Parker. I heart Parker, but like he made it really far. I wish it had been the other way around. I wish Parker had gone out in Maddie's spot and Parker had gone out. I wish that had happened.
Yeah.
And it's just it doesn't hold up for me as well as some others.
Well,
And
that was your damn brother's fault, Max.
True.
that doesn't make the season any better. I
It
don't
does. For the
think
record, I will
I
say
think-
this. I have all the thoughts later on 6, but I will say in terms of entertainment, all of the people that you talked about not making it far enough all got backdoored in pretty fun votes and like blindsided. So in terms of entertainment, those big players went home in big ways.
Gameplay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Steven, you're number 4.
My number 4 for every single reason you had it at number 5 is season 5.
Yeah.
Nothing more to say about it. You said plenty.
I did say a lot. I did not come in tonight ready to fight for season 5. Did not.
I had your back.
So are we at number 3 now? Oh no! Wait. Oh, I didn't write mine. I would like to go for first for number 3, if that's okay.
Why don't you? Well, I have something that you've already talked about.
Okay,
that maybe
go for
would be a good conversation, like that way, because it maybe something you haven't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it's season 9. It's time. Hey, I have you at number 3. We love to rag on season 9, and we've been for months saying season 9 is a bad season and ragging on it. And you know what? I'm prepared to take all those words back for the reasons that Josh
I'll be
said.
back later.
Yeah, you can leave. This stream just got way better. For all the reasons that Josh said about season 9. Plus, for me personally, the first 2 episodes are fantastic. Oh my God, is Carl an icon? Is Carl hilarious? Did it make sense? Was it good gameplay? No, and that's why Josh doesn't like it. And that's why
Right.
Josh doesn't like it. Is it entertaining?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, it is entertaining.
I can
Holy
see that.
hell, it is entertaining. And the fact that he has his own little like narrative of like, I can't believe you would give me a 1 in 8 chance, a 12.5% chance of going home first.
So did 8 other people.
And then he says, okay, I'm going to make sure you're 15th place. He wins the HOH
Yeah.
and then is actually able to put her in a position where she has to fight for herself. Hello, how is that not entertaining? Like, I know it's
Prime
cringy.
television.
I know it's a little cringy, but it is good television. It is
Yeah.
enjoyable to watch. And it just keeps going and getting better. You have these beautiful storylines for Slade and for Pietro, who are literally just ignored for 4 rounds and made to feel like they don't exist and they don't have a place in this game, to all of a sudden Pietro winning HOH, having an iconic moment of saying, you all treated me like dogs, and now I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine.
Yes.
You find it for
Split
him,
house. The
to him and Slade finding themselves in positions of not only good positions, but positions of power, the dominant position in the game at the time, taking out the people who were running the game in Dina and Daniel Kennedy, and then saying, you know what, it's time to play this game, guys. And it's so compelling on a rewatch.
Go ahead.
Season 9 is one of the best edited seasons, in my opinion, in terms of the storyline, cohesion of the storyline. It all makes sense.
It told itself. It really did.
It really does. And you know what? Like, it's so good. It's so good. And I was prepared to have it at the end. And I rewatched season 9, and I texted Josh, and I was like, oh damn, like season 9. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you were going to say like Pietro and Slade being ignored. That is so interesting because they really were. And even at the end, at the finale, I believe it was Slade that was when he's grilling Kaylee and he grills her and it's good. Like Kaylee says something, I think she says, well, Ed called you guys the island of misfit toys, and he just looks at her and goes, you put us there. Like,
Yeah.
you put us there.
It was like a Reed Kelly like moment in Survivor. Like it was like never like Slade comes back and just like absolutely like read her. And it was like, it wasn't just that. It was like the fact that Pietro had one of the greatest reads in all time. It was the moment that won him fan favorite. Whenever he's like, Kaylee, like, I know you love music, so I've got a song for you, and then puts the clothes on. And it's like, why are you so obsessed with me? And I loved it. It was like that. It was that moment for Pietro for me, like the shining star of the season. He was so good. It was the fact that, it was just like the split house was huge. Slade's diary rooms just narrated things so well. And yeah, I mean, there were just so many great things about that season that whenever I look back at it, it's like every round, even if it was like straightforward votes the whole time, like what got us to those straightforward votes was like what all the story was wrapped up in. And, I just absolutely loved all the reads, like the entire season.
Yeah, I agree with Mitchell, so I just changed mine to 9. I mean, I had it at 9, but I just put it in as 9, so or as my third. So, agreed.
Gotcha. So we're at number 3. Okay. Gray, why don't you give us number 3? I'll wait. I don't need to go yet.
So my number 3 is season 6.
Yeah, not surprised there.
I really did love season 6. It was great. There were some things that were lost in the edit for me, like that I just like didn't understand. And for a lot of the reasons that Max already gave as well, like there were stories that I just like the fact that Maddie was gone so early, like it's just like a crime to me. The fact that Mitchell was gone so early is a crime to me. The fact that like Morrison comes back after the battle back and like makes it to the final 2 where it's like
and makes it to the final 2.
Yeah, it's just like there's a lot there. The fact that Steven got voted out at 4 whenever Steven had a really, really compelling case to potentially win the entire season. The fact that Abby gets voted out at 3. Sarah played a phenomenal game herself. So there's a lot of really, really great people in that cast. But for me, it doesn't, like season 8 and 9, which are the 2 that I haven't ranked yet, are just slightly better than season 6 for me. And hear me say they are very, very close. Like I love season 6. I loved whenever it happened. I loved keeping up with it whenever it happened. I loved rewatching it. I loved every bit about it. I think that 70% of the cast was phenomenal. And
You have 2 flops.
No, you have 4 flops. Callie, Bree, Taylor, Jesse.
It's hard to call first.
Taylor doesn't count.
Taylor doesn't count.
Yeah.
Jesse got a raw deal.
So early.
Jesse got a raw deal.
Jesse got a raw deal.
Sorry, Jesse.
Then I thought it was just like 4 people that didn't. Okay, anyway.
That's fine.
I mean, I agree with you, Max.
Okay, you can have your opinion.
I mean, I agree with you, Max. Like it's the same thing for me. But like season 6, I loved like from the jury phase, like on, like I loved it. Like I absolutely loved being part of every bit of it. I do agree with Max where like, if I had to switch Maddie and Parker, I would, just because I love Maddie's like story in that. And I think that Maddie is like, has so much potential to be a good player in this. And like, nobody has let her like get started and get to the place where she can be a good player. And I wish that we could have seen that, but I also really loved Parker in this season. I would love to see Parker come back and play again. And so, yeah, some great people, some great cast members, and
Maddie was taken out way too early in All Stars, like way too early.
way too early.
Out of nowhere. Like that.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming. Gwen was like, this is what I'm doing.
Oh, well, Jason's taking season 10. She was taking out way too early.
Sorry,
season 10.
I'm talking about season 6.
Season 6, she was also taken out early, but season 10.
Just won power too early, and
She won. She the queen. She won 4 competitions in the first 3 rounds. I mean, like,
Yeah.
HOH veto, HOH veto.
All right, Jason, why don't you give us your number 3?
I have season 5 as my 3rd best season. For all the exact same reasons. I really enjoyed the cast. I really enjoyed watching Greg just be a villain. And like Greg went from being a crackhead to being a villain. And there is a big difference.
Mhm.
And the fact that he got to the end amazes me, because if you knew anything about Greg watching his former season, you wouldn't have let him anywhere near that end. I say that like, whatever. But Greg is definitely one of the reasons why I love 5 so much. I think one of the hardest parts for me for 5 is Quinn being taken out first. That hurt my soul, just because I love Quinn, and so that one hurt. That's all I really have to say to add on to 5. But
Steven, you're number 3.
So before I say this, I want to say that when I originally thought what my number 1 season was, it was this season, and I didn't think it was going to be particularly close, but it was rewatching every single season that now has season 8 number 3. And it is honestly, for some of the biggest thing I have, the reason that I have season 8, which again, incredible season. It's my third best at like top 3, incredible season. But I do think that what I try to do is take myself out of living it versus actually just watching the episodes, because living it, it was unreal what was going on there. Like Alex's domination of the game was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And like, the problem was there were so many things that happened behind the scenes that didn't make the episodes and couldn't make the episodes because they didn't happen. But there was so much nonsense nonstop. I mean, the amount of phone calls, there weren't any.
Talk Thomas into using the veto on him was incredible.
Yes. Like there was
talked the whole game and Thomas didn't listen to him. It was, yeah.
No, and that's the kind of stuff that it was so incredible. Like all of the phone calls that we were on that had never happened before. And all of a sudden we are on like 20 phone calls a day from these freaking people. They all played so hard. The craziest move I've ever seen again. And I put a lot of this on Gray, and this is why I think he does deserve to win it. My God, Connor, not voting out. Yes. That was Connor's move. And that's something that doesn't, I don't think, really resonate enough in the episode, is that was Connor's decision the whole way, was this is what we're going to do. Because he was so good at being in the background. And then he flips on his own decision and his people that I thought I thought Connor had that game won at that moment. And then he blew everything up. And then, I mean, again, credit to Gray, because on that phone call with Gray and Alex, they both, honestly, Alex did a great job as well, but I felt like that turned him. And in real time, I remember talking to you, Max, neither one of us thought that it worked. We thought Connor was just being a really good bullshitter. And then when the vote came out, we could not believe it. I mean, jaw on the floor. So all of these things to say, like, so many of those moments didn't make the episodes. If they had, I would probably have it higher.
I'll go now. My number 3 season is Big Brother Hometowns season 8 as well. I did not expect this.
I am shook. I'm legitimately shook, because we've been fighting about this for literally months, and you literally coming in here to shock us like this. I'm shook.
Yeah, and so I don't think I've said that, for if people care. I think the last time I gave season 3, I had 74%. Season 5, I had 75%. Season 9, I had 77%. And now a pretty decent jump for season 8, going up to 84%. And Alex is already DMing me.
I got some of those.
And for what it's worth, between this and my number 2, it is, 84 and 85%. It is super, super close. Like, honestly, and it's for all the same reasons we've said. And I think that's just because the episodes play better for my top 2 seasons than they do in season 1. The Living season 8 was incredible. The night of the finale was unbelievable. Was just one of my favorite nights in the whole thing. And it's because of the Alex Gray, dogfight and Gray really nailing the jury questioning. The season is super entertaining. Connor Mills is the most entertaining in this season than any other season, because he's playing a smart game on top of being an absolute nightmare. Like I texted him the other day. I don't know if you're watching, Connor. You probably still are. You might be. I texted him the other day because I watched when Thomas wins HOH, the HOH at Final 8, the infamous round where they throw it to Thomas so that they could take out, whoever, and then he ends up trying to backdoor Alex. And Connor like stares down the camera and he just goes, "I got HOH," and he goes, "I'm controlling this HOH. This isn't Thomas. This is my HOH." It's just, I texted Connor that day. I said, "Connor, you are a lunatic. You're truly a lunatic." And so this season is just so fun, top to bottom. Lots of great characters, lots of fun, but I just don't think the episodes play as well as the top 2 seasons. It is, in a sense, once you get over that hump, I think is when it becomes Room 4 dominates the season. Really, that's the story you hear over and over again is Room 4, Room 4, Room 4. And so in that regards, that predictability level does come down a little bit. But, the ending has the biggest shock out of them all, where Gray comes in and wins. Alex takes Gray. Obviously, that is a monumental moment and one I am very grateful for it existing, which obviously brings the season up even more. I think it's probably my number 1 lived season, but it's my number 3 watched season.
That's fair.
And so yeah, I have that at 84%. Let me mark that down. All right, let's go. There's going to be some non-surprises here. I say we start with Mitchell, your number 2 season of all time.
Sure. People are going to say it's biased. People are going to say, oh, but I mean, so Mitchell, you can't see past your own crap. That's fine. I would encourage you to look at every single panelist here and who they have in their top season as well.
Honestly.
So, and we'll just have to see whose real top season aligns with what's going on top. I'm just going to put both mine in here. My number 2 season is season number 1. God, what a roller coaster that was. I had no idea what I was getting into when Josh sent me the link. He said, "Hey, I'm working on this little project. We're going to do all the episodes. I'm making all the things. Why don't you check out season 1?" I probably sent Josh and Jenny 300 texts over the course of an hour as I watched and was in my apartment screaming at how good this was, at how amazing season 1 is, how great it is to watch. It holds up. It's so compelling. It's wildly interesting. Oh God, it's good. It's so good.
I will say, first episode, the grainy video of Daniel Sanchez on his porch with a cig.
Yeah.
There's just so much about it that's so lovable, and there's just so much about it that's good. I mean, okay, you got someone was clocking the couples. Okay, fair.
Fine.
But it didn't work. They literally, in the first episode, created an alliance called the Four Horsemen, and then were sussed out and were broken up in the first episode. That's good TV, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about? That is good TV. The 1 episode story arc of the Four Horsemen. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. And then just how the monkeys.
The monkeys in the middle,
monkeys
man.
in the middle.
And how they played that back and forth so good to the point where then Jenny just out of nowhere just comes and takes it. Come
I
on.
just realized why I had 1 as low as I did. It's because I hardly got any confessionals from Jenny and Tucker. And I feel like they were a huge reason why the game went the way they did. And I just never heard from them. I don't know if I ever got a die room from Tucker.
And that's fair. And I think that's a very fair point. But I think season 1 is just so wildly fascinating, in concept, to see where it started and to see what it led to. I guess maybe that's unfair to consider because we're not considering that for other things, but it is literally the impetus of Big Brother Hometowns. And it's not only just there, Borneo, I said it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's good and it's compelling. And you have these people that are making decisions based and they're hurting people's feelings. Jenny and Bradley voting out Ashton because Ashton was diametrically opposed to the best thing for their game. That's compelling stuff to me. And it holds up so good on a rewatch. It's so good.
I have 1 in my top half of seasons.
Yeah. And you're not wrong.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay, it's raining here, so I think that may have something to do with that.
Mitch, I want to go next only because, to be clear, You know, we may have disagreed on a lot of things tonight, but goddamn, number 1 and number 2 are right there together. And number 1 is so good. I cannot describe how much I love number 1. Like, they are insane. We had like 3 backdoors in the first 4 votes for no reason. Like, people were just crazy. And it was so much fun to watch. And the fact that they did all know each other, it made it almost like an all-star season where everyone does know each other, and kind of like, I loved the fact that everyone knew each other. It was just such a different wrinkle than anything else, obviously 2 aside. But because there were so many hurt feelings, and you could tell how pissed off people were. And oh my God, Ashton, please be watching this and play the game again, because I love you so much.
She's a queen.
Like, oh my God, like, there were so many fun people, so many fun storylines. Lane winning the battle back and getting back in the game, like, flipped so much shit in that game. Like, it was fun, and I loved it.
It was so good.
I'll go next because my number 2 season of all time, hold on, let me get the thing, is Big Brother Hometowns season. Hold on, wait for it. Season 1. Yeah, like, I don't get how this is not in this. I hated living this experience in the sense that I loved it too, because it was brand new. It was this fun idea I had. It was all this. It has this special energy about it, but the gameplay is very good. The game, I have this 85%. I mean, and my number 1 being season 6 is at 87%. But I'll just go through kind of and talk through it. Like, characters, 4 out of 5. Like, you have just unbelievable confessional givers between Ashton and Bradley, and I mean, even Jenny and Tucker, when they give confessionals, are very good. Lane is just explosive. He's an explosive character in this game. I mean, just that Daniel Sanchez, like, another incredible Veto King in that season. Gameplay, 5 out of 5. Everyone's playing in their best self-interest at all times. They're always playing hard. They're always trying to do what's best for them at that moment, even if it means voting out their loved ones. Like, this is like a blood versus water all-star season. Predictability, 4 out of 5. Like, who knows what was going to happen at any point. Like, everything was fluid. You had the monkeys in the middle that were stable, but everything else, you say, like, the couples, but whatever. Like, it did not matter. The winner, 5 out of 5, Jenny, one of the best winners ever. The finale, despite being a non-live finale, you have Jenny giving this impassioned plea for 4 minutes. That's compelling to watch the whole time. Storytelling, you see the storylines, 4 out of 5. Overall entertainment, 4 out of 5. This is just a good season to watch. Like, I would suggest starting here. You don't have to know the relationships. Like, this is good gameplay. This is good Big Brother. This is good entertainment. This is good reality television. This is like everything you would want in a season. The only issue is that you don't know who they are, and they have those relationships, but they explain them pretty much instantly. You have Bradley and Chris who work together really well. That's a really fun story. You have all these people who play again in future. A handful of people will play again in future seasons. Like Sarah, who does so poorly, comes back later, wins, almost wins. Bradley, who plays 100 million times. Jenny, who comes back again in season 10 and plays really well. Who else is that? All the people who've played again? Yeah, I think it is. But anyway, it's just Drew, who plays a couple times, has a great shot of winning season 4. I think if Drew wins season 4, it's a much better season. It's just a good season. Like, there's only 12 people. It's a small cast. There's the confessionals have a passion behind them. They have the, like, hey, we're on Big Brother kind of feel. Chris, holy cow, Chris's confessionals are phenomenal. Like, I would pay him to play this game. I'd give him his money back and double it for him to play again, because he's just so engaging, and he is a gamer. Like, Chris could win this game in his sleep if people didn't know who he was. This season is so good, and for that reason, it is my number 2 season of all time.
You want to talk nice about season 6 yet?
No,
we'll save it.
Okay.
We'll save season 6.
Jason, I'm gonna
save the best for last.
I'm gonna come through the fucking screen and strangle you if you don't.
Jason.
Okay. My second favorite season. Season 6.
Get out.
Why can't you be cool one time?
Yeah, why do you always gotta choke at the end? My God.
Okay, so for me, I love
Oh no! Oh, from the
Jason, keep going. I'm here for you,
hammer!
Jason.
Oh, got him!
I'm here for you, Jason.
Wow.
It's okay.
Oh my God.
It's just both times Mitchell played, I got further than him in hometown, so I don't know what he's on about.
Oh my God.
Okay, so with that being said, I love Six from the bottom of my heart. It's the start of like our journey. It's Steven, Mitchell, myself. It's the start of our journey. It's so much happens that season. But as somebody who's played that season, I didn't remember half the fucking cast. Like sure, Taylor got out first. I didn't even know that Andrew was like a vet. Rewatching it, like I had to remind myself, like, oh, there are vets this season. That's interesting. And then Quinn was just like, yeah, we were taking Quinn out, and Quinn was really fun. I agree that Maddie should have gone further than Parker, and I kind of forgot Parker was a person. No offense to I just kind of forgot. And then like I love Ryan, and I absolutely roasted him at the end. That was a moment. But like. I love Sarah and I love Ryan. They're not my favorite final two. They're just genuinely not.
No.
And I say that with absolute love. I love Sarah's gameplay, but I think a Steven ending would have been a lot more fun. I think an Abby ending would have been more fun. I think Steven or Abby could have easily won that season, and that's why it got to second place with me. One thing that takes away is the early game of, yeah, there's a couple cool people, but I forgot most of them. And for season 8, I just really fucking enjoyed everybody. So
Mitchell,
I know Mitchell wants to kill me again. I've seen this anger before a couple times. I'm gonna live with it. So that's my decision.
Let's go to let's see which one of our two. Let's see which one of our two BBH winners put their season number 1. Let's go to Gray first. Gray, what's your number?
I vote both of them. Why not both?
Max's final 2 are both seasons that he played in, but okay.
All right.
Slide that in there.
I just have one thing to say for somebody who I'm sure is still watching, and I want to say this emphatically with my entire chest. Carl Landon Clark. Enjoy second place, bitch. So I love season 9 so much. I think that season 9, pound for pound, is the best cast that we have had in this game so far. I said it. I believe it. I don't know if y'all agree with me. To be honest, I don't care. But I think that pound for pound, this is one of the best casts. This is one of the best storytelling casts.
Oh no!
The flip or the divided house at 10, where Pietro comes in, and all of a sudden Pietro, who has been on the block so many times, like you said, Mitchell, says, "You guys have been treating me like a dog, and now guess what? I'm about to run this, and I'm about to take it all the way to 4th place." And he could have won. He could have won. I love the way that Kieran and Mitchell played. I love the way that like there were cuts at the right time, like people cut people at the right time. And something that nobody has talked about yet that makes this one of the best things about this entire season to me is the fact that Daniel Sanchez comes into this game, and the first 7 people that post in the chat together and calls it an alliance. The audacity, the clearance that moment has, the power that moment has, the irrelevance that moment has, the fact that he goes in and says, "Hi, I'm one person, and you are the first 7 people that have commented in the house chat in this game. I'm going to throw you all in something, and I'm going to call it an alliance." The crackhead energy is there from episode 1 all the way to the finale, because one of the people sitting in the final 2 is also major crackhead energy, and I'll let you decide who that is. And the fact that like this whole thing, the only thing that for season 9 that suffers for me is the final 4 or the final 3, like everything that happens to like move on to the end of the game. I think that Kieran and Pietro would have been a phenomenal final 2 if that could have happened somehow. It would have been so compelling and so interesting. But season 9 for me is it. And like that may be a bias for me because so many of the people that I like now like consider to be some of my like great friends like played in that season. But at the time, like this is me looking back at like what it was like during the time of watching it. And I just remember that every day I woke up and I was so excited to see what was going to happen as like a host of this game. And I was thrilled every day.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things about season 9 is that the people that we were talking about while the game was happening are not the people that we talk about now.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the conversation around season 9 when it was happening was like, what's Kaylee doing? What's Dina doing? What's Colin doing? What's the sequester people doing? You know, like, and now you like when you watch back that season, you're just like, wow, Slade has this beautiful story. Wow, Kieran has this beautiful story. Wow, Pietro has this beautiful, like all these people that like their game went so unappreciated. I think in the moment, like now you're just like, oh wow, they were really.
And also the fact that, okay, like a few other things, the fact that Facebook Messenger broke whenever Shane and the fact that Pietro comes back the very next season and wins. So there's 2 winners in this season. The fact that it gave us Rachel, who is just like this iconic like person in this community who's like who plays her heart out, who would be incredible in like a live version of this show. Mm-hmm. And they're posting in the chat right now. They're posting in the chat right now and talking about Rachel screaming in the background, not Pietro. And it just giving us the Rachel and Pietro connection that then meant so much in season 10 was just so fun to me, because in season 10 it was like the way that Rachel would just like yell at Pietro. It was like a family member type thing that was just so like. And then also, 27 in July.
No, he's 27 now. We've all past July.
July has passed. Our king is 27, and next July he'll be 29. And that's all I've got to say.
All right, Max. Their top 2 seasons you played in. Yep. Which one's number 2?
We have my number 2 season is season 3.
Proud of you.
I appreciate that. The amount of disrespect that I have seen for season 3 is criminal, and it's not just because I won. The things that make that season great are mostly not me. Because my level of gameplay like peaked in the middle, and the other 2 ends were just like not my best moments. So okay, you have the formation of the Pineapple Pals, a very strong pre-jury alliance that had its composition by mistake. John was never supposed to be in that alliance. It was supposed to be Trey. It was supposed to be me, Quinn, Bradley, and Trey, but it ended up being me, Quinn, Bradley, and John, and that influenced a very significant portion of pre-jury. We won the Pineapple Pals won basically every pre-jury HOH. Then you have Quinn and I leaving the Pineapple Pals, a huge dramatic moment. And then you have us joining up with Melody and Abby. So the power just shifts. And then you have me getting HOH, failing to backdoor Quinn. Quinn pulls off an incredible move of flipping Trey's vote at the last minute, sending John home when he didn't play the veto on himself. And so now I'm stuck in the house with this one.
What's up?
Who hates my guts. Who hates my guts. And I'm just like, well, I have to win out to win, which I do. But then you have a top 5 that is probably one of the strong, both season 5 and season 3, I think have the strongest top 5s. You have Abby, Melody, me, Quinn, and Trey. That is a strong top 5 and is going to guarantee you a good finale, whatever you do. And then I finally like land my dagger because Quinn threatens to have some advantage. I call his bluff. He gets out. I take Melody out. The final 3 is very compelling. I think season 3 there were tons of shifts of power. I don't think it was a foregone conclusion of what would happen in that game. Like the odds of me running on a comp win like that are just very slim. So season 3, like y'all.
Why don't you roll? Go ahead and roll right into your number 1 with that then, because you're the only one that has that.
So Josh very eloquently spelled out a huge number of reasons why season 5 is amazing, like so good. But we have not talked about the fact that Quinn and I, well, we briefly mentioned Quinn and I were put on the block together round 1
randomly. How'd that happen?
Totally
who
random.
said it was random? So that was insane. You have Connor being an absolute crackhead. Like
Case.
Connor like went off the rails or something in the pre-jury. I was put on the block the first 3 rounds in a row. I survived the first vote. I won veto twice and pulled myself off. I won the next HOH. I won the next veto, and then I won the next HOH. So the first 6 rounds, I was either on the block, HOH, or won the veto to keep myself safe. That was huge. And then you have Allie, huge character, Bradley playing an amazing game. The fact that Sarah, like, got to the end and almost won. You have Bradley and I trying to run the game from opposite sides of the house and it working for a while. And like season 5, it's just so good. And it has so many good characters. Confessionals are great. I have the confessional where I'm like, oh hey, it's my new home, the block, like all that stuff. Like it's such a good season. It really is.
5's absolutely a great season. It has a
I
lot
made
of
it to
great
top
moments.
5, and
That shouldn't have happened.
right, like why did that happen?
There were 4 winners, and they let one of them get to the top 5. Like,
There were 2 winners.
It was just me and Connor.
Yeah.
well, yeah, I meant just in like 4 winners in history of the game, and we let
Oh, yeah.
one of them get to the top 5. And-
yeah.
That
Your
it
intro
made-
video is fantastic, by the way, Max.
Yeah,
For season 5.
Thank you.
That was very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was a good one.
Is that the one where he was like, "Why am I doing this to myself again?
Yeah.
Like I hate myself."
All right, Jason and/or Gray, we'll go to you next. You both have season 8 as number 1. Why don't we go to Jason? We'll go to get Jason first because Gray actually was, he won the season. So
Fair enough. So season 8 for me is a lot of I enjoyed every single character that was on it, and in every single way. I think early on in the game, Shane and Matt are running this game, and it's only like round 3 that's people are like, oh, that's happening, and I'm just like, what? And like Matt gets taken out super early, and for an all-star, like I was amazed that he came back after. I thought he went further, and then just watching this absolute beast of a duo in Gray and Alex just dominating the game. And then my favorite final 2. No, I froze there. I'm just repeating. My favorite final 2 with note of I think Alex made the biggest mistake in Big Brother Hometowns history. I truly do.
Really?
I think he takes Kaylee, he wins.
yeah,
Unanimously.
it's not a hot take.
That's
I didn't
unanimous.
think it was. But like the fact that Alex was so loyal to Gray and Gray was so loyal to I feel like Gray would have cut Alex right at the end too.
I would have.
Yeah, it's
I
just it
told
makes
Josh
it
on call that morning. Like Josh can confirm that. I told him that.
Yeah. You said on the finale you wouldn't, but you were lying.
Yeah.
and
That's right.
I've made it public knowledge that like I'm not personally a fan of Thomas's DRs, but I think he's so smart.
He's a
I think he's a
player.
brilliant
place
guy.
finish. His place finish.
Steven, hold
Thomas
it.
was infuriating in 8 though, because he knew about Alex so long ago, but he refused to make the move.
Well, I mean, he waited for his moment. In fairness,
He
like
Right.
put Alex on the block.
Because Connor made him. Connor talked him into it. He didn't really want
Did they send
that
him
was
home though?
Connor.
That's not true.
Yes.
So
They
for
didn't
me, I think season 8 hits all 3 of my criteria at the max point. I think it hits the cast. I love every member of that cast. Some people I am like, Josh, where did you find this person? And I'm not naming names, but I definitely said that about somebody. And then for DRs, I was just like, this is really fun. I'm enjoying watching these DRs and seeing actual gameplay. And that's because Alex and Gray are both great storytellers, in my opinion. And in Thomas too. Thomas is a great storyteller of what's happening in the game. And then the end game, there's no better final 2. It's just they are the best final 2. Both of them deserve to win the season, and that's why it came down to 5-4 or 4-3 or whatever it was. Like, that's why I have it ranked as the number 1 spot, because I think it hits all the spots that season 6 missed.
Gray?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what Jason said, and I do think I have a bias just after living through it. But also living through it, I remember not knowing like what would happen at times. I think that the thing that sticks out for me the most in season 8 is just like, and maybe again it was because I was so close to it, but the amount of emotional manipulation in that season is astronomical. Like there is so much emotional manipulation going on, and just like watching it back and like remembering it, and like it's like I'm glad that season happened during quarantine, because like I remember like in season 40 of Survivor, like Tony talks about how like he never slept like the whole time he was on the island, like 39 days. That was like me to a degree. Like I was taking naps during the middle of the day because it was like at nighttime I was up. Like it's the 2 a.m. phone calls between me and Connor for me. And like Shelby, if she's still watching, can attest to that. Like me and Connor, like there's like 2 or 3 times that we're talking on the phone at like 12, 1, 2 a.m. And it's like, there's just, the gameplay just felt like it never stopped. And again, that may not have translated over well to the episodes. And so that's why I like probably like my bias is showing. But like, I feel like the gameplay truly never stopped. You had such dynamic people. You had 2 people at the end who played vastly different games, like completely different games, but like that I think both are compelling of like a winning season. And I think going into that final 2, nobody really knew what was going to happen. And I think that it was the perfect cap on a season. And like even the final 5, like Max was talking about with season, I think you were saying season 3, Max, like the final 5 of season 3 was like such a strong, like final 5. And it's like almost the same way with 8. I would say that like the final 5, there are like 4 that are like really strong in there.
I would say it was shocking what happened in the finale, which is what makes it compelling.
Yeah. But it's just like, you know, like Connor has a chance to like in that season go on and like become the first 2-time winner. Thomas has a chance to come back and win. Me or Alex both have a chance to win. And it's like the way like
how Robbie had a lot of control pre-jury, and Robbie was a very good player too.
Yeah, Robbie's an underreported player in our history.
And like, I don't know, I joke with Mitchell a lot, and I've said before that like I just felt like that season was like me like babysitting a lot of crackheads. But like I think that in a lot of ways it was like that was a lot of the behind the scenes work that you like don't see. And to be honest, like I could never repeat that. Like I don't think that there's ever a chance that I could like repeat the way that I played that season. But it like I had to play my heart out because of the history of season 2 and like me knowing like the potential that I felt like was happening in that season. Just like I had told Josh for so long, like I want to come back and I want to try this again. Mm-hmm. But I just don't know that like when I want to do it. And then it finally happened. And so it does mean a lot to me. And so like, there's definitely a lot of bias there, but I do think that like in watching back, like it just is so entertaining to me to just watch it back anytime.
Well, and the conversation around your game and like what you did in that season is completely different from like the things I said earlier about the season, right? Yeah. Like you, the way you played in season 8 is one of the best that we've seen. Yeah. And that conversation when we do rank the winners, and I'm sure we will have words about that at that night as well. Like that will be a completely different conversation.
It will really ruffle feathers. We're calling people out by name.
I can't wait, and I do not care.
I've already said that I'm excusing myself from that.
I can't.
Yeah, me and Max both are going to be on a separate call watching together.
All right, well, Mitchell and Steven, let's not. I know we're all probably getting a little tired, but let's defend our king.
I'll say one thing real quick. Big Brother 10 All-Stars. How many people were from season 6? And I didn't play, and I got an invite. So for the record,
alliance.
Too many.
That's because we were so damn good.
Amen.
And like that season had so many All-Stars on it because it is the best damn season.
Where is season 10
like,
on
the gameplay is incredible. Mine's top 5. And that's because you got rid of all of the all-stars from 6
Yeah,
too
they're all-
early, except for Jason.
I have been really wrestling with this because I do not want it to come off like I'm biased. And I know like great, it's like such a fair statement to be like, well, I lived this experience. Like this is something that biases me, my perception. But like in thinking about it, when you go to watch season 6 on YouTube, it's just you will not be disappointed. I'm sorry, like you just will not be. It holds up so good. The story is succinct. I understand the criticism. You don't understand BB Pandora is dead. I can hear you on that. Like maybe it didn't translate through. I understand your statement about Brianna and Callie making it too far for being like kind of wet blankets on the season.
you literally have
You got two people who do not contribute to their for their amount that they're there.
Because to be fair,
the
I
only thing.
look out in front of my apartment and there's like a tree in front of my apartment and it played that game harder than those two did.
Yeah, exactly. And like so, like you have two, but if that's the only stain you can throw at season 6, then it doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Like the way that season 6 unfolds with this beautiful crazy pre-jury story of let's get out the returners. We're getting out the returners. We're getting out the returners. Oh, 3 of them make it to jury. Oh, 2 of them make it to the final 3. Like, come on, that is super compelling in a narrative. You do have a majority alliance kind of running the show, but you have this whole secondary story of Quinn trying, just surviving round after round and making it one round further and one round further. You have Abby who sits on the block 6 times as a returning player, final 3 player. She continues to make it all the way each week.
Abby
week by week.
is excellent. I will give it
Until the point she makes it to the point where the majority alliance breaks up and just one after one just take each other down, continue to destroy each other. You can say that, Mitchell, you're biased about this season, but the minute I get voted out, the season continues to push forward. I will say this, I will stand by this. The double eviction afterwards is so compelling. Steven's boot at 5 is so compelling. You get to the final 4, you have people who, or you're not, you were 5th. Were you 4th?
Oh, it's 4th.
4th. So you have Parker going out at 5. You have Steven going out at 4. The final 3 people all have very compelling stories. You have Sarah, who beautifully and artfully plays the middle between these two sides. You have Abby, who is a final 3 robbed goddess who comes back. She's been targeted the entire game. She is there sitting at the final 3 ready to go. You have Marston, who was freaking sent home, won the battle back. Yes, did he contribute a ton? No, that's fine. He still came back and made it all the way to the end, and his win would have been compelling. The final 8
Marston
people
did
left in the
plenty.
game. Yeah. Okay, the final 8 people all had extremely compelling stories. If they'd have made it to the end, that would have made that season satisfying. Season 6 is just so good, and I will fight. I have been defending it, and I am here. If anyone wants to fight about it,
Steven?
Real quick, I did not originally, like I said, when I was thinking about my season or all of the seasons, I've said from the minute season 8 ended that season 8 was the best season of Big Brother ever. And I've thought that up until I did the rewatch of every single episode of these seasons. And I just really do think that the editing of season 6 is so damn good. In particular, and obviously I'm biased here, but my God, the editing of me and Mitchell, go at that, what I'm saying, Mitchell doesn't tell a shit. And Mitchell's right there, right after that, saying, I tell Steven nothing, I tell Jason nothing. I mean, it's just so well edited in that regard. And so you're really able, I think, to see why I wanted you out, right? And why I ended up making that move later, and why we did overwhelmingly, but for everybody, you really saw Quinn, you saw why he decided to backdoor Maddie. It's really I thought that the confessionals were fantastic in season 6 all the way around.
Here's a couple points that have not been mentioned. I mean, kind of been brushed on, but the Steven underlying story to get out Mitchell from the jump is so good because they're working together. Mitchell trusts Steven a little bit more than Steven trusts Mitchell, but Steven just keeps pounding that we're going to make this happen. We're going to do this. And he fulfills that prophecy. Amazing. And fulfills that prophecy through Jason. Super great. Say what you want about Marston as a game player, but heck, he is so fun to watch. I'll watch his confessionals any time of the week. Like, he created this character for himself. He plays it great. He did it in season 10 too, but it's just so fun to watch. And bad gameplay in critical moments is super compelling because you like I said about Kaylee earlier in season 9. I mean, you have Marston and Abby kind of fumbling their way to the end when they had opportunities to take out Sarah and they choose to take out Parker, and then they have a chance to take out Sarah. And this is where I quibble about this because I think that taking Steven out is just as useful as taking out Sarah at 4. I think it's really at 5 where everything was really bad. You have Steven who, this doesn't make the episode, but actually it does make the episode because you say how brutal it is to lose the HOH at the double eviction because you did so well at Deal or No Deal, and Sarah still somehow beats you, and then you win the veto there. And there's just so much. The finale is really good. Like, yes, and it's really good because you have Abby, who's this Rob goddess from season 3 that could have won the game and doesn't get a chance to play for herself. She does get a chance to play for herself here and absolutely chokes. That's
so the number 2 worst move over Alex was her guess in the tiebreaker his all time.
And so her getting cut there is a great story. Despite us, I would love to see Abby win the season. I would have loved to see her win that final HOH, cut Sarah, and destroy Ryan. That would have been that would have been great too. But her losing is just as compelling as her winning in a lot of ways. The season just sure, Callie and Brianna, but hey, your number 1 season has Bobby and Leighton. Your number 2 season has Bobby and Leighton. So they both contribute absolutely nothing.
Kaylee makes it to final 3 in season 8.
Right. And just like the season, just from top to bottom, is really good. It's the first season we did with episodes. I think that helps because I was a little more careful with it, and that's why the edit's really good. But yeah, I couldn't deny this as the number 1 spot. And it really marks a new chapter in Big Brother Hometowns because just a lot of new people that are mainstays in our community now are a part of season 6. It's the first time I brought on a co-host in Max, and that's obviously brought the series to life in a lot of new ways. It's just so good to watch. It was very fun to live. I think this one is much better to watch than it was to live. It was fun to live, but it's really good to watch. Yeah. I'd if you had to cherry pick a season, I'd say any of these top 4 seasons, really top 4 seasons here. I would probably still, I don't know. I could see you starting with 6. There's returning players, which is always an interesting thing, but that's not necessarily this list of what season should you watch for.
Josh, what was your breakdown between the top 3 or 4? You stopped.
Yeah. So season 8, I had an 84%. Season 1, I have an 85%, and season 6, I have 87%. So all super close. Let's see where the season season 1, I went through that, but season 8. 4 out of 5 characters, 5 out of 5 gameplay, 3 out of 5 predictability, 5 out of 5 winner, 5 out of 5 finale, 4 out of 5 storytelling, 3.5 out of 5 overall entertainment. And then season 6, 5 out of 5 characters. Sure, you have 2 duds, but the characters are great. 4 out of 5 gameplay, because even though sometimes the gameplay is bad, that's still really fun. Predictability, 4 out of 5, because it's a mess the whole way. The winner, sorry, Sarah, 3 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5. Not one of our best winners, though she's one of our few unanimous winners. She benefits but by playing that middle well, by playing under the radar well, but not our flashiest winner by any means. Great game nonetheless. Finale, 4 out of 5, despite not being, the most compelling. The jury all brings it. They're all it's those characters that bring that finale to life. Storytelling, 5 out of 5. Overall entertainment, 5 out of 5. And it just edges out season 1 really by that. So that's 30.5 out of 35 to seasons 1, 30 out of 35.
Wow.
And I adjusted those things after I compared them a little bit because I knew that season 6 was my favorite after rewatching them all. So,
I mean, even with the duds of season 6, like the 2 that are being named, after Steven takes Abby off of the block, Callie loses her goddamn mind.
Oh, she does? She did?
She was so mad.
I roll my eyes so hard at that, but I agree.
Yeah, well, because we were in an alliance, Jason, myself, and Callie, we were tight. And the problem was, though, I couldn't trust Callie to do the right thing and vote out Mitchell. I could
Abby.
trust Abby to
She
do that.
wouldn't have.
And there you go. So we would have done that.
Yeah,
It would have been so much harder because
No
Cal,
one
like,
cares about
we
this.
just voted out Quinn only a couple
And-
rounds ago.
Yes.
And,
And Bree is now out.
yeah,
and
we
so-
voted out Quinn and Bree. So now
Right, and so
Kelly's just
She
mad.
couldn't be trusted, and she was furious.
I like 6 people are still. To be honest with y'all, they do not care about this.
Yeah.
Like, I think we should
Start to wrap
move to
up.
a conclusion.
I want to say
Yeah.
one more thing about season 6. We're talking like there's a lot of being brought up about the duds of the season. I was just like, Brianna and Callie, glad you played. Hope you had a good time. Whatever. But you also have, if we're gonna call duds of like Drew, Jesse, and Taylor, those 3, any one of them, had they gotten some footing, had a little better understanding of things going on, would have been really interesting characters in the game. Like Jesse gave good confessionals. Drew's a very good player. Taylor is
almost won the
all
first
that.
HOA.
Taylor could have been great, and Taylor was Mitchell plague away from getting first HOH
Yeah.
and not going home.
Yeah.
So like Taylor, I think
And they
really
were
could have
all
been
out
great.
early. They were all out early,
Right.
which I think really helps
Yeah.
clear
It-
things up. It makes a way for the bigger characters to kind of
Right.
like make it, super compelling. So I don't know how we come to a ribbon on this though, Josh. What do you think?
I would add up all the math of everyone's and get our rankings. You guys got a sense of what seasons are kind of.
Carl actually sent me a spreadsheet.
Oh no, he did not.
I
Oh,
love
I love
him.
that, man.
Can
I stopped keeping
you
track.
share it or can you send it to Josh so he can share it on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have an adrenaline rush now.
Yeah. Send it to me.
wait, do you want me to just share?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know how
I guess-
well we'll be able to see it, but
yeah, we'll see.
hopefully.
I have a final
Can you see
thought,
it?
like to kind of yes.
Okay. So what he's got on the left
It's,
is it's lowest score wins. He did it like golf. So first place got like 1 point, second place got 2 points instead of like reversing it. And
Get out of here! Do you see this? He said
average-
averages with real panelists, and then
And then-
averages with real panelists and Steven.
oh my god.
So if you look at your averages with real panelists, the first place season is season 6. Second place is
Season 8.
Season 8.
8. Third place is season 9. But if you look at your averages with the real panelists and Stevens, season 6 is still first place. Season 8 is still second place, but season 1 is third place. Season 5 is fourth, and unfortunately, season 9 drops down to 5th place because of Stevens'
Last place ranking, which
highway
which is
robbery.
still just so wrong, Steven. I'm sorry. It's just so wrong.
But unanimously,
I regret absolutely nothing.
the things that are
Not
shared here,
one damn thing.
the things that are shared here are, if you look at season 4, it got 11th place both times.
Yeah.
If you look at season 7, it got 10th place both times. Season 11 got 9th place both times. 10 got 8th place both times. 7th was shared by season 2, although here they tied. 6th was shared by season 3, although here they tied. So really, the top 5 are what differ. But yeah,
All right. So the definitive ranking is in last place is season 4,
yes.
then season 7, then season 11, then season 10, then season 2, season 3, season 5, season 1, season 8, with the best season being season 6.
Yes.
There you go.
Put a bow on it, baby.
Were you going to say something? Mitchell?
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna reiterate like some of the things we said throughout the course of the night about like good BBH is good BBH to me, and like if you are a part of this community and you've participated and contributed to this, thank you. And like if you haven't, like sign up to play season 13 when it comes around and watch some of these seasons, and it's just a great thing to put on in the background and take a ride because all of these seasons have things that are compelling about them.
Yep.
So
Agreed. Thank you to everyone that has been watching the whole night. It's been a lot of fun from Weakest Link to this, despite anyone's feelings on the Weakest Link earlier. It's still fun. It's always fun. Next Sunday, we'll do the Weakest Link episode 5. I'll probably put a sign-up post for that sometime tomorrow or soon, but we'll have that soon. And some other potential fun things throughout the off season, but we're really starting to gear up for Christmas, but also for Big Brother Hometown season 12. We're really in the thick of the casting of that right now. So we're really excited about that season. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that'll be that. So signing off for Mitchell, Stephen, Gray, Max, and Jason, I am Josh Consalvo, your host of Big Brother Hometowns, and we'll see you next time.